Good evening to everyone that is watching right now. This is the halfway point of the championship of the All Japan Series. I am your commentator, or co-commentator for tonight, myself. Lloyd Kobe was just doing his checkups to that. He'll be joining us very, very soon. So yeah, again, round 3 out of, I believe it is 6. And we are at the Tokyo South Inner Loop. It's a very complex circuit, the street circuit, and also for the first time, and it's also a very rare time, we are racing under the lights. Just bringing up the championship points here. Coming into this round, it's very close at the top in the 500s. Darth and Inman both tied on 22 points. Then it's a tie for third place between Kofi and Cro-Magnon. They're both on 13 points. Pridgey on 10. Also with the Baldy one, who is also on 10 points. And La Bomba Negra, the Nissan Skyline driver, on 6 points. Then in the 300s, Rascal, who has been dominating that series so far, picking up the 2 wins, even though we had that moment with Lateral back at Kyoto last week, but he still managed to get that W, and now he pulls a 6-point advantage over Chris in the Aston. Matty sitting third with 15 points, a tie for fourth between Wiley and Jerry Bear, both on 12 points. Of course, we didn't see Jerry Bear race last week, but he's back here tonight, so that's good to see. Lateral G on 9, and the Furious 2, who's just joined here, on 6 points. So Tokyo South Inner Loop, it's a very narrow, tight street circuit. It's also got some very fast corners here. There's going to be many things to talk about this race. That the 500s, how fast they're going to come up to lap the 300 cars. Something that I haven't spoke about during the whole championship so far is the fact that the 500 drivers, the GT500 drivers, have got to show an incredible amount of patience to get by the GT300 drivers, because this track can catch you out. I'd be absolutely impressed if anyone will not pick up any damage throughout this race, because I've been watching a lot of practicing with the other drivers of that, like with Darth. He's been practicing a lot in Inman during this whole week. Everyone has been really, really practicing, and yeah, there's been a lot of cars that have picked up an awful lot of damage. So this race is going to be focusing on a lot of patience and initiation at that as well. Some corners as well that can easily trip you out is you can pick up a penalty very easily at turn 5 at the DHL dockyard. That's the whole dockyard thing, the whole hairpin turning right and what have you. Turn 5, very easy to pick up a penalty if you shortcut that little curb through there. And then you also got Pandora's Box. That's probably the worst places to lap a GT300 driver, especially turn 13, 14, 15. That's what we call a Pandora's Box. So then, we're just still waiting for Kobo to get back. I want to also mention about, we actually raced at this track back in season 3. For those who remember, my commentator was involved in that race, but it was his then teammate, Cro-Magnon, who was racing in Group B, I believe it was, nearly stole the show and took the win away from Alex and Chile, who were battling pretty much the entirety of the race. Until Alex made that double overtake at the Fujiwara hairpin, which we'll see in a few minutes' time. And I can also remember that both Chile and Crow were very angry with that. But Alex got the win now in a very entertaining race. So it's nice to see Tokyo back on the calendar. Also to note as well that I did bring up back in the beginning is that we don't do a lot of this on the ARC, some night racing, and there always seems to be like a magnetic attraction for one another. So we're going to keep an eye out on that, because I don't think any drivers are going to have their cars just 100% contact free against the wall, because everyone is going to hit the wall or make contact with a lap car somewhere else. Got Kobe back yet? I hear some noise. Is he back? No. Oh, not yet. Okay, then he's just just doing some stock checks. So hopefully he'll be in the booth. So give you a rundown of the track. Well, I don't know if Kobe's got it on the track. So you got that fast right left-handed turn one, probably about 4/5 gear down through there, and then you got a lot of nice long straightaway towards DHL Dockyard. That's the whole right-hand complex corners, and then you got to turn 6 again. You go down at least 1 gear through that, and then you go through the Wangan Expressway under the bridge, which is about over a mile long, in which for drivers like guys that have had success ballast on their cars, like Inman and Rascal, their cars are probably going to be a little bit challenging, even Darth as well, because of how the car will be on that straightaway, because it is just over a mile long, that Wangan Expressway towards the Fujiwara hairpin. And I know for the fact that Rascal is really not looking forward to this race, considering he's got 6% of success ballast. And again, listen to what he's been practicing throughout this week. He's saying he's about 2 seconds slower than the fastest GT300 driver in their class. So also too, the fact that Jerry Bear and Rascal have been, somewhat playing a bit of mind games with one another. Jerry's trying to say, this time I'm going to beat the Rascal, what have you, and so it's going to be interesting to see who will come out on top. Really, the dark horse, if I was saying that Chris may be the favourite to win the 500s, it's very close to see who's going to win the 500s, because I also been noticing in the chat there that Inman's fastest time was a 1:44.5, I think it was. Darth's fastest lap time was a 1:44.5. Kofi's been quick. Also, the Bomber's been quite quick as well during the week. He's done a lot of practicing. And Furious 2's also been showing a little bit of pace. Lateral sort of struggling here and there, but he'll get together during the race. Crow Magda, he's found it a bit difficult. We have done some practice races as well. We have done some full races too. Crow sort of really struggling his way through the lap traffic, and again, it's at the worst point of the track there, especially the Wangan Expressway, Pandora's Box, turns 13, 14, 15, that fast series of corners, it can definitely catch you out. And I mean, from a driver's perspective, what do you want to do? Do you want to, sacrifice your time to the guy ahead of you, or do you just go all balls out and try and get by the guy, a slower guy, to maybe get damage in the process? It's a tough one to call, I mean, that's what these GT300 drivers have got to do. They've got to show that little bit of patience, but somewhat aggressiveness too. As I Steph, I'm starting to also run out of things to say here.
Hello
so
there,
hopefully Kobe will come back. There he is. Thank God for that. I was running out of stuff to say.
So we are heading into the full practice, making sure everyone knows how to get started. As we know, street circuit, very narrow, so making sure that everyone can get off the line and making sure that everyone knows how to perform their rolling start correctly. But yes, did you already go over the current driver standings yet?
Yeah, I already have done, yep.
Alright, perfect. Alright, cool. And teams as well?
I haven't done the teams, no.
Okay, so I will go over those.
You should do that.
Yep. So in first place we've got Sukaderia Supenhado with 46 points. That's Larascal and Darth. With Blue Flag Racing in second with 34 points. That's Inman and Wily Coyote. And then in third place, Racers of the Lost Ark, 31 points. That's Kofi and I believe that is Chris as well, so it's Kofi and Chris. And then Maruchan Seiman Umakoku Racing, 22 points in fourth place. That is Jerry Bear and Predjay. And then Fat Sashimi is 20 with 21 points in fifth place. That is La Bamba Negra and Furious 2. Oh, Maddie, yes, La Bamba Negra
Yeah,
and Maddie.
they both got the same liveries, but in
Yep.
different car makes.
Yep. And then the Baldy G's, that's Baldy 1 and Lateral G, they're in 6th place tied with the Team Faro Racing, 19 points apiece. Baldy 1 and Lateral G, and Team Faro, that would be Crow Magner and the Furious 2.
I'm guessing who was the Baldy out of the Baldy G's? I'm going to say lateral.
Very possible.
I think this is going to be very interesting. I don't know if we're going to get that many interviews after this race. I think there's going to be a few angry people after this race when the 300 drivers are trying to work their way by the 500 drivers trying to work by the 300 drivers, I reckon. So again, this race is going to be down to a lot of attrition, and like I was saying before, a lot of patience too with the 500 drivers trying to get by the GT300 ones.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've made sure to emphasize, especially in the announcement this morning, this evening for you guys, that they should be very, very patient. They should not rush their overtakes. If they are caught in a bad part of the track to overtake in, they should just wait their turn. They have the speed to overtake whenever they want, and then they can resume racing. And I know that when it comes to racing with another driver, you don't want to give up any sort of time or position, but the safety of all drivers and ensuring that everyone has a good, clean race is of the utmost importance.
Indeed. I think one thing that I haven't mentioned though during the stream thing, oh god, everyone's already made contact with Crow, was pit stops. Now, as far as I know, a lot of drivers are definitely confirming it will be a two-stop strategy. But we know we've saw from Inman, he's always done these one-stop strategies. I don't think a one-stop strategy possibly will not work around here. Obviously, because the fact that they're going to be doing it's a lot of straight line corners, so obviously it's a lot more wearing on the fuel.
Yep.
But gee, I don't know. I'm just hoping the fact that if Inman does a one-stop strategy, that possible thing might not work here tonight. So I don't know. Is he still going to go for a one-stop, or is he just going to play safe and go for the two? Because it just seems to me that the two-stop is safer than the one-stop.
From what I've been hearing with the drivers talking in the chat, the tire wear specifically is not that it's not hurting people that much, so they are not being affected by tire wear on this particular track. So if anything, I think it'll come down to fuel saving during this race.
Yeah, I also noticed too that Wile E. Coyote was doing a bit more saving. But if you're saving fuel when you're going onto the straightaways, like going on the Vanguard Expressway, which is like over a mile long, you're losing a lot of time. As far as I know, I think the Furious was losing about 2 seconds a lap when he was saving fuel. So we'll go on to see. I mean, Inman has been known to always do one-stop strategies. We've seen Inman before in other previous ARC series, like the 3-hour endurance race, the 290 minutes at Spa, and he always did a one-stop there, but it didn't really work. He didn't win his class at all. He was like miles behind the leader. So we'll see what happens. I hope Inman will do the same thing and go for a two-stop. But as far as lap times are concerned, between Inman and Darth, it's going to be very, very close, considering that the both Holden sing like fastest lap time around here.
Yep, so qualifying has started for the GT500s, and we've got Crow and Darth already out of the pits, followed by Predjay, Inman, Baldy, Wile E. Coyote, and La Bamba. So hopefully qualifying, I think they should be able to do maybe about 5 total laps, probably a little bit more. The track is just so long though, so we'll see what the strategy is for qualifying today.
Looks like people are not wanting to do is supporting a bit of a new livery too. He's gone for the white this time. It was normally black, so he's racing in the white and blue.
Yep, he seems to have, if I'm correct, he's created a bunch of Super GT inspired liveries for all three 2016 Group 2 machines. So they're all Super GT inspired. So I believe there's like the Wet Sport and the Mugen NSX, the Red Bull NSX, and the like. So he's got a couple of those on his profile. So if anyone's wanting to snatch up those liveries, just check out his profile on Inman GT.
Someone has gone into the pits there already. It must have been Kofi. Did he? Oh no, it might be Cole. Oh, was it Bomb? I'm not too sure.
From what it looks like, Wiley had come out of the pits on accident.
Oh, okay. Again, I think one of the corners that we need to look out for is the last turn. I think that's turn 16, I think that is, or is it turn 15? Turn 16. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be scraping the wall a lot through there. So Inman's already posted the lap time, 1:44.8. He's 4 tenths quicker than Bomba.
Yep, that's the beauty of the pit being right before the start line. They're able to just get the quick out lap and then go ahead and get started on their flying lap. Yeah, so that first corner is also very tricky, along with the S section right before the final curves. So one of the places.
Yeah, you're on about 13, 14, 15. It's a nightmare to catch up with a GT300 driver because that part of the track is quite fast.
Yep.
And you know, it's one of the worst things they go. And I stressed again earlier when I said in the chat, you know, if you're like right behind a competitor that you're trying to overtake and you catch up to one of them, and to a GT300 driver, do you want to sacrifice losing that time, or do you want to brave it out where the chance of hitting the wall is quite possible?
Yeah, I know in the GT300 Group 3 machines, a lot of the cars can just take those corners by just lifting off the throttle. They don't need to brake or anything all the way up until turn 16 on Pandora's box. So same thing with the GT500s. With all that downforce they have, they're going to be pushing it really hard, and that's going to be, if they catch up to each other there's going to be a little bit of scrapping to try and see who has enough patience, especially if they're racing for position. Kofi, 100 tenths, 1/10.
Slightly improved, exactly a 10th than his fastest time, but didn't improve at all. Joint championship leader Darth already 1.3 back, so that's not good for Darth as we're halfway through the qualifying. I'm sure he'll pick up the pace though. He's actually got, that would be the bolder one just ahead of him.
Yeah. It's a tiny bit of struggling from what I've heard with all of the ballast that's been applied, and Inman and Darth have both maxed out their weight ballast, which is capped at 5%, and so any points of ballast they pick up from this round onward is going to cut down their power, so they will not have as much power going into the next rounds if they do perform well today.
And that will be in 2 weeks' time, because we're having a week's break, aren't we? Hopefully for the best, considering this track is going to be very tricky for these drivers, and a lot of, you know, but hopefully we're not going to hear some bad-tempered interviews and that.
I definitely agree.
So then let's see what, I think the bolder one's going to complete his first lap time in a 1:46.8, but I was looking my eye out on Darth. Darth does not improve.
Red J is going purple right now.
Red J, okay, he's second fastest too. He's cut the deficit between Inman to Bomber's time.
Currently 0.169 up on Inman's time, so we'll see what he can do.
And his car's going to be lighter than Inman's too, so this is a great shot here for Red J.
Yep. Red J had that unfortunate spinning accident last round. So let's see if his performance can improve today.
Oh, he's lost time.
Let's see if he can make it up here.
Faster than a done time. Yeah, going towards Pandora's box. He's got a car just ahead of him. Don't know who that is. That still can't see it.
It's La Bamba.
He'll probably improve his lap times. Maybe. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. In fact, Inman's actually gone quicker.
Yep. So Inman currently 3/10 up. Predje behind, Labamba behind, 1/10 behind, and then Crow in the pits. He will have roughly 1 lap to go. Kofi is in 5th, Darth in 6th, and Baldy in 7th with a 46.8. So we're seeing roughly 44s and 46s at the moment. How do you feel, Savvy, about the ballast, and how do you think it's going to affect them? Because right now we're seeing about 2-second discrepancy in time. The leaders at the moment is Inman and Darth, where Darth doesn't seem to be performing as well as he could have, with Inman having some damage.
I'm just looking at Darth right now. He's just going quicker, but not quick enough to gain any positions. I think looking at the times, I think Inman is actually suited to this success ballast, whereas I think Darth sort of hasn't. And it's actually kind of surprising because he's been practicing all week. I'm sure Inman has as well, but I would expect the Darth to be up in 6th place. He's just about past the Baldy one going into the DHL dockyard. But I think from a success ballast point of view, I think Inman's covered it a lot better, as I see so far from Darth. And Predje's got less success ballast, and you can see the bumper too. He's pretty much the light as a feather. Yeah. And you see the results. They're 2nd and 3rd, whereas Darth, who's heavily suited on his car, he's just down there on the 3rd row. So Darth's got to pick up the pace here, because I think he's just going to have enough time to do 1 more lap, as we've nearly got a minute to go.
Yep, and what I wanted to touch on is I've heard that Crow has been practicing like a madman. We currently see that results out in 4th right now in his position. So looking to see if Crow can pick up some points after a sort of not as totally great result at Fuji, and then performed very well but incurred a penalty, so that put him down to 3rd position instead of his race finish 2nd place. So let's see if he can keep it clean as well as have a good drive today.
Darth just scraped the ball off in turn 16. See if it's enough to be faster than his previous time. Yes, it does, but it did scrape at least 2 tenths off. But he moves up a spot. He's only 3 thousandths ahead of Kofi Juicy. I tell you what is a very important corner is the turn 15. As I just see the Baldy one smashing the wall of Cannon very hard on the right hand side, and then the left hand side of the wall too. It's 10:15. I think you've really got to, park the car in the middle of the track, so you've got better speed going in towards turn 16. Because if you're using all the track off of turn 15, the exit the Pandora's box, it's going to compromise you for turn 16, and you're going to lose at least a couple of attempts on that. As Darth has got a 1.5 second penalty, that will be shortcut in turn 5, which we I touched upon early on in the stream. Very easy to do that. So that's Darth's time ruined, and that will be his qualifying over. Just see that Pro Magnus gone quicker to 1:45.330. He's only just 800 slower than Bomber's time, but it looks like Inman is going to be on course for pole position unless Predje is doing something here. Just going through Cannon right now. I think his lap time may have just been finished though.
Yeah. So what it looks like is
going to miss out then.
Yep. Inman posted an even faster time by 0.02 of a second, the 1:44.694. And then Predje's finished his lap with a 44.874. Bamba with a 45.251 was his fastest. He was not able to go any faster than his first lap out. Cro-Magner, 45.3, and he's currently coming in for his lap. Let's see what he can do.
He's not going to improve. He's 4 tenths down on his best lap, so Crow's not going to improve from 4th.
Okay. So we're going to see
across the line. Yeah, 4.5 tenths off, and I think Baldy one, his damage is already done, so I don't think he is going to do.
So 45.6, Kofi with a 45.637, and a Baldy one who came out of the pits, but should be no problem. I'll go ahead and pull up the timing screen to see where he was at. Baldy one with a time of 46.812. Alrighty, so let's make sure I get this saved in. Okay.
Sorry, also to note there too, we're just getting ready for the 300s to qualify. Everyone is saying that Chris could be the favourite to win, but he's copped a free grid place penalty.
Yep,
So if Chris would manage to get the fastest time in the qualifying, he will already start in 4th place. It doesn't matter if he's 5th or 6th because there's only 7 cars in this in the field. So the 300s will go out on track, let the way bilateral. You just want to see something before I cut you off there.
Well, we're going to see the GT300s qualifying now, and I've heard that Lateral is, again, not having a great time with this particular track. So we'll see. He seems to have enjoyed the original tracks that Polyphony has been creating, but not so for the Tokyo Expressway. Oh, Maddie already into the corner.
Not too sure what Matty's going to do because Matty hasn't been practicing with the likes of Jerry and Rascal and Furious and Darth and that. So, you know, I'm a little bit not sure what Matty's going to do around here. I have seen Lateral race around here. He's been, you know, as you said, very quite struggling around Tokyo. Jerry Bear started doing all these mind games and that if he's going to beat Rascal. But I mean, Rascal's got 6% success ballast, so going onto the Ranguan Expressway, that long straightaway over a mile long, it's really going to hurt the Ferrari.
Yep, I definitely agree.
And also at the DHL dockyard, he was complaining that the car goes oversteer and then goes understeer for the next 3 corners, and that's all because of the ballast in his car.
Yep, and I don't think he was expecting it to affect it that much, but some of these cars now have over 3,000 pounds, and that's somewhere along the lines.
That's like having me in the car.
That's for some cars, that's almost over. That's beyond 1350 kilos of just total weight. They're putting on somewhere around 60 kilograms on their car at this point for the Rascal. So all of that weight is definitely adding up.
Matty's making his into the pit lane because he did pick up damage there. Also, one thing I haven't touched upon is damage. Now, we've seen before that some drivers have been keeping or coping of the damage and all that. We've seen Lateral had held quite a bit of damage from what was the second round, Kyoto, and then also at Fuji too. He was carrying some damage too. This track, you would expect to be pitting immediately when you have damage around here, because again the straight line speed is really going to help if you carry the damage.
Yes, for sure. I do not think anyone should hold any damage, especially aero or suspension, for this track. With aero, with the Wangan Expressway, it's going to hurt absolute tons. You're going to lose gobs of time just with the aero damage. With suspension damage, with turns like 13, 14, 15, and 16, there's just a huge importance on your aero and suspension here. So I think it's very important to focus on mitigating damage and the the person who wins today is most likely going to be the one who didn't get damage.
Yeah, as I said, it's going to be a race on attrition. Also, you can see the straightaway from turn 1 to the dockyard corners there, because that's quite a bit of a straightaway too. You'll lose at least maybe a second on that too.
I agree. And it's one of those things that I try to stress so much when I go into announcing the lobbies open, and announcing, to all the drivers that they can join, that it's very important. We've got heavy damage. It doesn't go away, not unlike the Group 3 champs where you can pick up some damage, but it'll go away after a while. But here, it's very important. You could go get damage right after you pass the pits.
Oh.
And right after you pass the pits, now you have an entire lap to go with damage, and that's just going to hurt your chances so much.
Just going to see what outside Jerry Bear's going to do, because he was purple. They put him into second place, then that was because just ahead of him he was all over the back of the Furious too. Scraped the ball quite hard, I think it was at turn 16, and he was purple, and he got held up a lot, and now he was 6 tenths slower than Rascal's time. Have you actually put ballast in those cars? Because Rascal should be up there.
I have, and even Jerry has a little bit of ballast as well. The only people who should not have ballast right now is La Bamba and the Furious 2. So, yeah, we should definitely be seeing someone else take pole position at the moment, but La Rascal, as we all know, he is a very rapid driver. He's very good, and definitely expect to see him take advantage, as if he doesn't win today, he's going to be placing very high up to try and mitigate any damage that ballast is going to give him.
Oh, I just noticed here that Wile E. Coyote is sponsoring a new coloured livery on his car. I thought it was going to be blue, but he's gone orange.
Yep, he's gone orange with tiger stripe blue.
Yeah.
So he's looking to have a new paint job every single circuit he races at, just not unlike Inman, but a little more colorful than Inman is. La Rascal into the pits. Maddie's finally coming out for another hot lap. See what he can do. He's coming up to the Pandora's box now.
I know the fact that the Furious 2 has different. He's probably racing the same liveries as well, but his car changes, and I've only just noticed this is because if you notice on the back of the Furious's like see where the number plate is, he always puts the track on where he's racing it. I've just discovered that.
Well then,
anyway,
that's a very interesting look there.
Yeah, I've just discovered that because I know it was different for Kyoto and at Fuji, the other 2 rounds. But if you see it in the middle there, that is the Tokyo track.
And you can get those track decals by doing the circuit experience. So Furious seems to be practicing very hard to try and improve. So currently, let's go over the order. So La Rascal is currently sitting on pole with a 57.0, Jerry with a 57.6, so 6 tenths behind La Rascal. Chris is a 57.746.
And he's purple too.
Yep, he's currently purple. Lateral in 4th with a 57.7, Wile E. Coyote in a 57.9, Maddie with a 58.1, and Furious with a 59.0. And let's go ahead and sit on board with Chris as he comes through. He's about to hit the Wangan Expressway. A little bit of scraping.
That's the Fujiwara hairpin, that. So there we go. Only 1,000 quicker than lateral. He did hit him at the curb. That may cost quite a bit of time. Yeah, it did. It did lost 2 tenths there. But just going over the curb with the Fujiwara. But he is still purple, only just. Now we're going into his Pandora's box down. with Chris sitting second in the championship, so he needs it. Also, he's got that frequent police penalty as well to prove. Can he improve Rascal's time? He was only fastest by 3,000 of a second. Can he improve? No, but only half a tenth slower than Rascal's time. Coming up now with a minute to go.
Yep, half a hundredth there.
It's a nice train, a nice gaggle of cars here going across the start-finish line. I think Rascal's leading the field, followed by Wiley. And then I think there's another 2 cars at the back. That would be Furious, who's actually got up to 4th place now, Furious, with Jenny Bear. So Furious improved his lap time by 1.3 seconds. So solid effort back there from the Team Ferrero driver.
Yep, and Jerry right now is on a hot lap, and he's trying to get past Furious, but Furious doesn't have any ballast, and Jerry does, so he pulls out of that draft, and he wants to go past, but he can't because of the weight. Ballast is just affecting his straight line speed so much.
Jerry might be a little bit frustrated because, I mean, he was stuck behind Furious early on in the qualifying. He doesn't want to get stuck behind him again. 15 seconds to go, so everyone will still make another lap. So there's the Fujiwara hairpin. I think that might be lateral. Yes, indeed it is. He's going to be the first to come across the line to finish the qualifying. We'll see if he improves. In fact, hold on a minute here. Hold the front page. Lado is 3 tenths in the purple. Where does this lap time come from the commentator here? Is he gonna upset the Ferrari boom here? Here we go. Oh, he just scrapes the wall off at 10.16. That might cost him pole here.
It was a tiny scrape, but it didn't look like it hurt too much.
It did. It really did.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. And again, that's what I was saying earlier before. Just turn 16. If you're going to hit the wall, you're going to lose a lot of time, and that did. 7 tenths lateral loss there. That could have easily been a pole position for lateral.
Yep. Currently, we're watching LaRascal as he finishes out his lap. He's got a train of cars behind him as well. Wile E. Coyote a little bit far back, maybe a little bit of draft coming there. No improvement there. Coyote, no improvement.
Don't think Jenny will improve as well.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think Jenny will.
So that is the end of qualifying.
So it'll be LaRascal and Latino on the front row, and I think Rascal will be very surprised that his Ferrari's put on the pole position.
Yep, and right now the two, Chris and LaRascal, like we said, we've been talking about Chris might be the favorite. He is currently 5/100ths behind LaRascal, so if their pace is roughly about the same, we might be seeing Chris taking a win today.
But let's not forget he's starting 5th because he does have that frequent place penalty.
I agree. So, while I go ahead and put together the qualifying results, I will leave it to you to entertain the crowds.
Again. So, I was mentioning about last week with the news with some more racing that's going on the ARC channel. Unfortunately, there's some sad news. Unfortunately, I don't think we have a commentator for the team versus team with ARC versus the Finnish team FAST or Fast, because Kobu's busy. I'm busy doing another series. And Lateral is, he's just reluctant not to do it. So, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be seeing the team versus team. Also, too, we were going to have the 4-hour race at Brands the following day after the team versus team. And again, that unfortunately got cancelled because Chile said he cannot do Saturdays. And I don't think anyone else would do a 4-hour endurance race with me. So, unfortunately, that's going to be put back on hold. I will actually bring my other iPod because I just noticed there too that Techno Guy has posted something in there regarding about other series that's going to be happening all the way to December, which I'm guessing, I believe season 5 may start. Again, I'm not sure who's going to be in the booth with me when season 5 starts. So maybe Lateral. It may be chilly. I don't know. I'm in the dark as well. So I'm just going to open up Discord here on my iPod. Let's have a look, because I did notice there that Tipping Guy has said something about some upcoming series of this. So, as far as I know, in the upcoming series that we're going to have is that we are going to have another series of the Mazda Roadster Touring Car Championship. We did see that I think it was before season 4. I think it was. That was some good fun racing in that. The Renault Sport Megane Trophy is back again. If I don't want to remember that Mazda race at Brands Hatch, that was exciting, great fun in that. A GL3 car of your choice, excluding the usual suspects, 4GT and the McLaren F1. Also, we're going to have another Honda versus Toyota series, the Super Formula Dallara one. We have done that before in the past. And there was another GL3 car of your choice here above, a Peugeot 908 Team Peugeot Total 10, so I'm not too sure in any of that. I think also Rascal is also making something for a race tomorrow, I think it is, or Sunday, but I think that's a free class one. Again, I haven't seen any information on that or know anything about it, unfortunately, so I think that should be good fun. I haven't got YouTube up, so I want to see what they're saying in the chat, actually. So leave yourself their comments in the chat. Who do you think will win the 300s and who do you think will win the 500s? So I'm just going to bring up the live chat here now. Sorry there, I just muted there. Yeah, so we've got 18 people watching. Don't forget to give this race a thumbs up, and for anyone that's new that are watching this, give this also a subscribe. We're getting close to about 400 subscribers in the process. So again, for the 21 people that are now watching, who do you think will win? Who do you think will win the 300s? And who do you think will win the 500s out of that? I think it's going to be very, very close. I think the 300s are going to be very close, but look at the way that Darth has done an awful lot of practicing and really struggled in qualifying. And I mean, this track is notoriously tight. This track is. It's like the Monaco Grand Prix, but faster. It's going to be quite hard that Darth can catch up with Inman. So hopefully the damage has not already been done for in that perspective. Rascal on pole for the 300s, but can he keep it up though? His race pace I don't think has been too quick though, so we'll get to see what Rascal can do around here. He may have a smart race. I've just also noticed too that Rascal has been drafted in now to the team versus team for next Friday, and also found out that the car they're going to be driving is the car that Rascal is driving. So there you go. Someone leave me in the chat there who was actually driving for ARC on Friday. I think Rascal is, Nagati is, Chilled is, PK I believe is as well. I think Mermaid Man and Matty, I believe it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's just a shame that we won't get to stream it, unfortunately, because like I said, I've got other plans commentating on another league on Fridays, and that's also to find around. I tell you what, if it was next week, I'd be fine with that. I'd be absolutely fine, but it's just the way things goes, unfortunately. We've got 11 likes. That's good to see. We've got 17 people watching, so that's 6 people that are not watching. Give it a thumbs up, people. We're just waiting for Kobu to show the drivers where they're going to be starting up with. So it'll be Inman and Predje on the front row. Good effort that from Predje, starting on the front row. Much needed him considering he's already way back in the points, but he does have a lighter car than Inman, so hopefully Predje, and also Bomber Negra too. Bomber lasted in the 500 class, sitting third on the grid. He could pose a bit of a threat. He's got the lightest car of them all. So hopefully Predje and Bomber can take the fight to Inman. We'll just wait and see if Darth can make his way up. But again, like I says, damage may already be done for him starting in 5th position. And Inman already started up at the front because obviously Inman is going to start in clean air, whereas Darth is going to be fighting some dirty air cars all over the place with Crow, Predje, Inman, Kofi. So we will see. We will see. And then also in the 500s, I wonder if Rascal's race pace is going to hold up during the race over the course of that mile-long Wangan Expressway. It may hurt him. We'll just have to find out. Some more people in here. Oh, we've got 14 likes now. It's going up a bit. It's slowly going up. Checking to see some of the chats, what they've said in the All Japan Championship there. Lateral saying is at least fun to drive. I would love to get Kobu have an interview with Lateral. I would love to hear that. I would absolutely love to hear that. PK's been saying stuff in the chat there. Typical PK being cheeky. Chilled as well. Yeah. Lateral, I don't want to sound too harsh to say this, but just come back in the booth for season 5. You'd be a lot more. Oh, he's going to hate me now. He hates me already, but he's going to hate me more. I want to see what people are saying about their qualifying times. I just noticed there that Dan was saying that I think he got held up, was he? But he's going to save Kofi time. So hopefully we'll see Kofi time during that race. Are you done yet? No? That'd be a no.
Alright, so I believe this is the official grid. So we will be looking at Imin starting on pole for the GT500s, Predje starting in 2nd, La Bamba in 3rd, Crow in 4th, Darth in 5th, Kofi in 6th, and the Baldy one in 7th for the GT500 class. In 1st for GT300 is going to be Larascal, 2nd, Lateral, 3rd, Jerry Bear, 4th, the Furious 2, 5th is Chris with a 3-place grid penalty, and then 6th is Wiley, and 7th is Matty.
So then, who's your pick then to win?
I want to see either Predje or Cro Magner take the win today in GT500, and I want to see Lateral or Jerry Bear take the win today. But if I'm being realistic, if Larascal keeps it all together and everyone fights behind him, then he might just run away with the race, and same goes for Inman. If he has no one to contest with and he runs away with it, he may just run away with the win.
I'm just hoping to what we see back in season 3 with Crow, Alex, and Chilled, where it was a 3-car battle for the win, and then you had this whole gang of cars for like 4th on back. I think you were involved in that too. I think you made like a ridiculous pass around the outside at the DHL dockyard, I think it was. Don't know how the fudge you managed to do that, like, but yeah, I think it's. I just want to see racing like this again. And a tricky track around Tokyo, it's going to be tough on these drivers. I mean, it's mentally, I think they're going to be really tired after this. I reckon. Probably not for the pad users, but for the real users, possibly.
Yep. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure everyone is ready.
A couple of drivers making a genuine pit stop. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but if any car does not scrape the wall, I will donate £1 million to something. There you go. So please, someone hit the wall. More the fact I don't even have £1 million in my account. So, oh well. So we're getting the race going on. How long? How long are we left?
We'll give about 5 minutes just to make sure everyone is verifying their results. Yep.
Right.
I want them
Lovely,
to verify.
lovely. Are you going to participate in the 4-hour race, Kubu? I think it's going to happen in November time, I think, from what Robo's saying.
So I am currently looking at possibly my schedule being changed in the upcoming weeks. So I do not know if my Sunday is going to be free once that comes to fruition. So I don't know if I will be able to participate in the races just due to my schedule changing. So I just wanted to, I don't want to make a commitment until I know what my schedule is, but I definitely wanted to participate as either a racer, or I've heard that there's a spot open as a commentator.
I was saying there in the chat there, I think we've got to give it back to Lado because he'll be struggling. Yeah. So, like, you know, Lado, the spot's here for you too. Quite impressed with the Furious too, even though he's, you know, Success Pilot 3. I think he's starting, I believe, what was it, 3rd on the grid, or was it 4th on the grid?
For which driver?
Furious.
Furious, he's starting 4th.
4th on the grid with a ballast-free Chevrolet. I think that's still a solid effort there from Furious. He too has also been practicing with the likes of Brasco and Jerry Bear, so it's obviously paid dividends to see Furious up there in the mid-pack. But again, it's just all down to Chris with that, you know, that straight horse power down. That Aston Martin is so quick on those straightaways. So also wanted to check to see what tyres they're going to be starting on. So I'm looking here at Kofi. He's starting on mediums, and then you got Bomber also on mediums. I'm guessing from Inman he's going to start on mediums because he races the other part apart from mediums. Oh, look at that, he's starting on mediums. Who else? Crow's on mediums. Just looking at the GT500 drivers. Who else is the GT500? Predji's going for softs.
Yep, I saw that.
Predji's going for softs. Okay, I respect that. I respect that. Again, tyre wear's not really seem to be an issue. It's really the fuel, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to be the case around here. So Predji may have found a little trick in that, actually, to be honest with you.
Yep, and I'm expecting to see a little bit more fuel consumption out of both Inman and Darth's cars, as well as Larascal. With all of that weight they're putting on, they're going to be struggling to get their car up to their optimal speeds, and as a result they'll have to be dumping more and more fuel out of their car to just be competitive.
I think, if I remember correctly, I think Crow was saying something about this track is your lap times get faster and faster and faster with the tyre wear going over time. So I think that's what Crow was saying.
Yep, with so much weight already being added onto the car, it's like the fuel as you are emptying out that tank, it's just returning the car back to as if it had no ballast at all. So for drivers who are already seasoned with the Group 2 machines, they naturally feel the car improving over time, and they can put in those times that they normally would if they had no ballast. But at the same time, they're only going to get maybe 2 or 3 laps that are going to be like that, just due to the fact that, you know, all of that fuel it's only going to give them about 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah. And also this track being 35 laps long, when you were saying about pit stops too. Excuse me. So hopefully we'll see some 2-stop strategies. I reckon drivers will possibly pit in between laps. Let's see if I do some calculations here. Maybe laps, what, 9 to 12 maybe for the 2 stoppers, I reckon. For the first stop, and then maybe laps 23, 24, 25 for your second stop, and then go the rest of the way, possibly.
Possibly, yes.
I'm just hoping and praying that Inman doesn't do a 1-stop, because, like I says, I don't think a 1-stop's going to work around here.
Yep, I agree. All right, so race is going to start now. So just want to go ahead and get that started. So if you guys are excited for All Japan Championship and you're enjoying watching us here at Adrenaline Racing Community, you can get into the action here. Just check the description, find the Discord link, join, read the rules, take part in our rookie series, and you can take part in events like this that feature heavy damage, multi-class racing, and our highly coveted Group 3 championship. So if we take a look at the grid, we've got Inman in pole, Pret J in second, La Bamba Negra in third, Crow Magner in fourth, Darth in fifth, Kofi in sixth, Aldi1 in seventh, La Rascal in first for the GT500s, Lateral in second, Jerry Bear in third, Furious in fourth, Chris in fifth, Wily Coyote in sixth, and Matt T in seventh. As we all get underway in our manual rolling start, a feature that we have here at ARC that we've been testing with the drivers, and they are all on board with the idea. And it makes for very interesting starts. GT500s will start first, with the GT300s starting second. And there's going to be roughly about a 15 to 30 second gap between the 2 classes, so we'll be able to watch both of the classes start separately.
So just looking at all the drivers in the GT300 class, only Pridgey is on the 500, sorry. Pridgey is the one that's starting on softs, whereas Rascal starting on softs, Lateral is on mediums, so too is Jenny Bear. Only Rascal starting on the softs in the 300s.
Yep, Rascal and Pret J. I think Rascal wants to just get away. I think he's very confident in his pace. If he gets away from the pack, he should have no trouble just saving his own race. If he ends up fighting too much, he might end up either 1 with damage, or 2 losing out on the possible race win.
I've just noticed that going into that Wangan Expressway under the bridge, I just seen Bomba Negra hit the wall, so my £1 million is safe. Thank you very much. Be careful when you're moving left and right, because if you're gonna lose traction, there's wall there, and you're gonna end up having damage, and
yep.
I think you're gonna leave yourself a bit red-faced after doing that.
Yep, especially if you lose your position due to your own incident, you start back where you file back in. So even if you qualified well and you accidentally ran off, the course, or you incurred damage, wherever you end up after the rolling start, you will just form up as normal. Wherever your position is, you won't get your position back. But the GT500s have made their way to Pandora's box, and they will start stacking soon, so hopefully they will stop weaving, because this is a dangerous part of the track to do so.
Very interested to see here that I think it was Darth or Pridgey was saying that Inman was actually fuel burning at Kyoto last week. This race tonight, he's not fuel burning around here. He's just trying to save as much fuel as we get in the field, getting underway, as they will stop weaving. They're in the stacking zone. and Inman can now dictate the pace, but he will go, and then he'll probably turn sharp right into Pledgy, which we have seen before, and there
we go. A little bit of squeeze going on, but they all get away relatively easily. Let's see how they go in. A little bit of touch with Crow, but nothing too serious. So La Bamba does not create any incidents, which is perfectly fine. Any damage on anybody? Nope, looks like everyone is good.
Side by side for 5th place is Darth and Kofi is side by side. Meanwhile, the 300 drivers are making their way across the start-finish line.
Yep, and let's follow on board with the GT300s as they get underway.
Oh, Inman's down to 4th. Sorry, you will keep an eye on that. I'll show a replay of how Inman lost the lead.
And La Rascal is off the line. Lateral is following as well. Jerry Bear behind. Currently no incidents, and they all file in relatively safely, so no huge incidents there. Said Inman is in 4th place, 5th place now.
Yeah, I've just noticed too that Inman slid wide at the DHL hairpin dockyard. Sorry, he slid wide, so he's fallen all the way down into 5th place. And again, that's probably because of the fact that how heavy he is. Darth is down into last place already. So again, the two championship contenders now struggling with the weight on their cars. And Predje, the only driver on soft tyres, started to pull it away.
Yep, this is what Predje wants. He's got that clean air in front of him. No one's going to catch him on the medium tires, so he's taking advantage. And I think nothing could have gone more right for him right now. As far as getting the start, getting the lead, Inman sliding out a little bit. Yep, I think this is going to be Predje taking the lead. See how far he can improve his gap between. But
wow!
Inside.
Did you see that there? Bomba was trying to do the crisscross on Crow. He might get the job done actually going into the hairpin, but he's going to have the outside. Oh, he's got it!
Slotted
Lovely
in
pass
front.
from Bomba.
See if they can get onto the brakes properly. Crow in the inside.
Dockyard they go. And Bomba and Crow still side by side.
Ooh, a little touch.
Careful through there, yeah, little touch.
Ooh, a little touch again.
Oh, more touch again.
And that might be a penalty.
Yeah, but I mean, there was some contact there, so I don't know if that was Crow's fault for doing that.
Yep, it might be a penalty. Nope, looks like it's good.
Oh, he's good, he's good. A bit of smoke scraping there. That might have been... Was that Crow? No. Well, it might be Crow because he's going to lose that 3rd place to Kofi. And Inman all over the back of the pair of them.
Yep, currently a lot of action.
I mean, there's literally nowhere to go for Inman.
Inman wants to make his way by. He knows he's faster right now, and he's only going to get faster as the fuel drops off. Little slippy out, but he maintains his 5th position for now. Everyone slides in. I don't think anyone wants to try and make any passing opportunities here in Pandora's box.
So nice forecast scrap there for 2nd place, but Predje's checked out already. 4 seconds he has over Bomba. Just gonna have a check a look at the 300 class there. Rascal still leading the way. Lateral still holding on to that 2nd place, but Jerry Bear's all over the back. I mean, they've got a bit of a gap away towards Chris. He's only gained a spot into 4th place overall in the GT300s. The Furious 2, Wiley and Matty seem to be losing a little bit of pace, but so far looks like no car has got any damage. That's good to see. Meanwhile, Crow and Kofi and Inman are still battling for that 3rd spot. It's going to allow the Bomber to pull away. They're going to go free abreast.
Ooh, and this is going to bring the opportunity to Darth and Baldy to catch up as well.
Kofi! He's going to try and do a Kobu here, is he?
Oh no, a little bit of touching. Inman.
Oh, careful! How did they get away with that there? Also, Baldy just sparked up there at the exit of turn 5, but my oh my, good racing already.
Little rubbing, little racing, no damage. That's what we like to see. This is given
on the outside.
This is given La
That's
Bamba.
great. This Buckman.
Yep. He's given La Bamba the chance to just run away. He's 2 seconds ahead of Kofi now in the group that's just battling it out with Inman, everyone behind. So Predje and La Bamba are definitely capitalizing on the fact that they're all scrapping right now.
My oh my, they're all fighting for the same bit of tarmac. Kofi and oh my god, that was nearly some heavy contact with Kofi with that returning barrier coming out of the pit lane. But Kofi's got that third spot there. Oh, but he's going to run wide at 13. Now it's Pandora's box. That's going to compromise him here. My oh my, fast-paced battling already. Just noticed there, Jenny Bear's passed Lato up into second place, but he's already 3.2 behind the leader, Rascal. But there's some entertaining racing again. Predje, nearly 5.5 second lead he has over Bomba. And then it's anyone's guess the third on back.
Yep, Inman has not been able to find his way by, and Crow is definitely putting up a defense right now. Kofi is getting a little bit of gap as Crow is having to fight Inman for that position as they go into the DHL dockyards.
Yeah, Crow's going to hold on to that position there. Just noticed there that... oh, I thought Darth had passed him. Oh no, Darth has regained that 6th place, so point gained for Darth for the championship. And just over there, that is tied championship competitor. Inman is just ahead, already nearly 3 seconds back, and only a few corners ago they were all over the back of Inman.
Yeah, they seem to have calmed down a little bit and decided that they wanted to maybe get a little bit of gap and just not lose too much time, because if they kept fighting, they're just going to keep losing time to La Bamba and Predje, and they need to minimize. As Inman goes on the outside, is he going to try and make that move stick? I don't think so. Tries to get an undercut, a little bit of touch.
He was trying to do the crisscross, but Crow parked his car in the middle there. Very experienced racers, Crow, so you know he learns every trick in the book. Lato's got back into second place in the GT300 class, but they're not helping each other because Rascal is 4.5 seconds away, and Jenny's trying to have a look on the inside, going into his DHL dockyard, in which the leader, Predje, is going towards Cannon, the first corner. And Matty, I think it is, that is in last place, is it? Yes, he is. He's just entering the DHL dockyard, so I think Predje is going to be catching up with the GT300 drivers, maybe this lap or the next one.
Oh yeah, and that's going to start introducing the unknown factor for when do they catch up? Yep. When do they catch up in their patience?
Furious 2 has actually got by Chris again, so Furious up to 4th in class. Nice 3-car scrap with him, Chris and Wiley. Inman has actually managed to find a way by Crow, so Inman up to 4th. Darth still struggling in 7th place. He's losing some ground. He's actually got some front end damage, Darth. That's not good for the joint championship leader.
I wonder how that happened.
I don't know. He already had the damage going in towards the DHL dockyard, so not unless if he scraped the wall off of 16, which is again very easy to do.
So, looks like the GT500 field has normalized, no more high action racing, so I think the closest battle on the field right now is going to be Jerry and Lateral, with possibly even the cars behind them, Furious, Chris, and Wile E. Coyote, all scrapping for that, what's that, 4th place position.
That's Darth going into the pit lane. I'm wondering if he's going to have to change the soft tyres because he's going to lose an awful lot of ground. As Predje's coming across the start-finish line to start lap 7, and he's going to be catching up with the 300 drivers, so it'll be Matty just ahead, followed by that 3-car scrap with Wiley, Chris, and Furious. I tell you what, if I was Predje, I'd be a very worried man if he sees 3 cars battling all for position.
Yep, he is pulling up on them right now. They're going into the DHL dockyard, so they're going to be coming up on a narrow part of the circuit.
Oh, Chris got to go around the outside of the Furious too. Bit of bumping. And Furious gets away with it. Chris loses out, and he's going to lose a spot, and the Furious has got a half a second penalty. Now, but as Predje got by Matty, he's going to go around the outside. He's got through that cleanly, now going into his Vanguard Expressway. This is where that free... Oh God, Matty scraped the ball very, very hard. He's got no damage though because of it.
There's a penalty for Furious.
Yeah, he shortcut at 10.5, and he's going to be side by side with Wiley. And that's not going to be good for Predji to see in his windshield in front of him. And again, this is where he's got to show this patience here. He's built up an 8-second lead. He's going to the inside of Wiley, going in towards the Fuji hairpin.
He knows he can brake a lot later than everyone else in the GT300 class with the soft tires and all that downforce.
Now you see the gap now losing towards Predji to La Bomba. It's now down to 6 seconds, but let's not forget, Bomba has got to get by these drivers too. Now Predji is going to catch them in the first part here, Pandora's box, so that gap's going to diminish even quicker. But again, Bomba's got to navigate his way through these lot that are battling over position. Now down to 5 seconds.
Yep, and Kofi is actually gaining as well due to the traffic. Half a tenth away from La Bomba as they scrape the wall a little bit.
He's managed to find his way through.
La Bomba has damage. La Bomba has damage. He's going to put Kofi into second.
Just show the replay. Yeah, he scraped the wall off of turn 16. And that's how he got it. He was trying to get by his teammate Matty as well, of all people. So Bomba's down into 3rd place. I also noticed Kofi scraped the wall too, but it looks like he's got away scot-free. Now they've got to navigate their way through by Chris and Furious. Furious taking a different line through turn 3. May have shortcut that corner. He might get another penalty for that. And now Kofi, now in the 2nd place, and he's going to get held up massively.
Red J with a penalty, half-second penalty for the DHL dockyard, cutting that corner. And then he just passed by Jerry Bear, and Jerry Bear is now up in front of Lateral as well. And that gap from Kofi, which was La Bomba, is now 3.5 seconds, and it's going to go down a lot more.
Chris just hit the wall extremely hard, and he's got damage too. And Inman just blasts his way through. So Chris is going to be pitting this time by. He's got some front end and front left suspension damage too. It's all happening here. Look at all these 300 drivers trying to get by the 500 ones now. Look at this. Chris comes, he's going to go into the pits right now. So Bomba's also made this pit stop. Inman's now into 3rd place.
I was looking at the replay for Chris. It was La Bomba compromising Chris's line there. No patience was given. Now Chris into the pits.
Now what Predji has to do is he needs to regain his momentum, regain his confidence, and just try and pull away from Kofi. He's got Rascal, the leader, in the 300 class just ahead, and then he's like a safe thing away for like another few laps until he meets again with the likes of Matty and the Furious and over. But again, he's on the soft tyres, so he's going to be a lot more faster than Kofi on those mediums. He gets by Rascal very cleanly.
That once 7-second gap all the way down just due to traffic, and now with all of the clean air, hopefully he can make up some time again. But the softs have a little bit of wear, not so much. Well, they're roughly about the same actually. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Between the mediums and the softs, there's about the same tire wear, so it looks like the softs are pretty good here.
The drivers who started on mediums have certainly missed a trick, because Predji, Predji's still going at it. I'm sort of staying the same though. I'm expecting him to pull away, particularly he is on the faster tyre than Kofi.
And instead of the hazard lights, I see that La Bomba Negra has opted for turning on his windshield wiper. So let's see if there's a little bit of rain. Maybe need to swap to wet tires now.
Maybe he's seeing something that we don't.
He's predicting the Gran Turismo 7.
Tell you what, Latour has fallen quite a bit away from Jenny Bear, 2.3 seconds. Latour's not that careful because Furious is behind in that Chevrolet, only 2.2 back. So I don't know. He had a shocking lap 7, although he may have been passed by the GT300 drivers. But Latour needs to be careful. He's having a good race at the moment. Sitting 3rd in class, but he's got to be careful because Furious, Wiley, and Chris will be all there catching.
I agree. I think Lateral has just been. I think he's just trying to take it easy. I think what Lateral needs right now is a solid result. It's going to help boost his confidence going into the week break and then heading into round 4. So I definitely think he wants to build up his confidence leading into the later stages of the championship. And as a reminder, the 5th round, all of their ballast gets cut in half, and then at the final round, they will not have any ballast. So damage mitigation is definitely a key to anyone who wants to challenge for not just the Drivers' Championship, but also the Team Championship. They need to get as much points as they can.
Just looking again at Darth, joint championship leader, he will not like the fact that Inman's in that 3rd spot, so he's going to put at least a good amount of points away from Inman. In 6th, just ahead, and then Bomber, who already moved that pit stop. He's also got damage again. Bomber's got more damage too. He's got front and front left again. So Bomber's got to be pitting this time again.
Yeah, this is not a good look.
He's going to stay out. No, he's going in. He's going in.
It's not a good look for Labamba.
No, and what started so promising too, being up as high as 3rd, maybe 2nd place, and it's just going over down to smooth greens. In fact, the Boulder one's making a pit stop too. He's got some rear end damage. I wonder if there was contact was made between those two.
Not totally sure there, but it's super unfortunate to see for Labamba. He was doing very well. 2nd place, he qualified 3rd. Third, and he was just doing very well. And you know, that's the thing that I mentioned earlier. The person with the least amount of damage is gonna end up performing the best here today.
It's pretty much a case of survival of the fittest. Anyway, Predje 7.2 back. He's actually made his fastest lap of the race back on lap 9, and again it was back to those tyre wear again. You know, tyre wear is not going to be an issue. Kofi's actually got damage. That's why. That's why the damage has been done. He's got a lot of damage there. Both front suspension has been damaged as well as the front. So Inman's going to go into a safe 2nd place now.
Yep, and Inman is going to be catching real quick up to the hairpin here.
Well, Kofi's going to be pitting because he's not going to sustain that amount of damage. So I'd expect Kofi to come in.
Sliding into.
He does. He's struggling, isn't he? He's sliding his way into the pits. So Inman now into 2nd place, Crow into 3rd. Darth's still struggling in that 6th place, but he's just found a way by Lateral and Wiley in the process. So he's lost a bit of time on the Bomber.
Interesting. I'm just checking out the fuel here. So Maddie is fuel saving tons right now, but I believe he also had to pit for damage, I believe, right?
Yeah, he did pit, yeah, on lap 2. There's a P beside his name, so he must have pitted on lap 2.
Yeah, so Chris also is pit already for tires, but not any fuel.
And damage, he had damage too, because he might scraped the wall in the bridge at the Wangam.
Yep, and yeah, so currently fuel, looking at it right now, Kofi had about 18%. Again, Inman is saving fuel like a madman. He had 25% last time by, and Predje is less than 15% what it looks like. Crow back there, yeah. 15% as well.
He's also set the fastest lap of the race, that last lap, 1:45.301.
Yep, and that's what you can expect out of the, like you said, the car gets better as the fuel drops off. All that weight just kind of disappears from the ballast, but once they have to come back into pit, they're gonna experience all that weight all over again, and it's kind of like getting to know the car for the first time.
Just seeing the battle here for, well, not really any battle. Oh, in fact, Inman's going into the pit, so he is doing a 2-stop. Ladies and gentlemen, Inman is not doing a 1-stop strategy, folks. Rascal, I'm actually quite surprised to see Rascal way out in front in that heavily Ferrari. 12 seconds he's got over Jerry. But although Jerry and Lado had been ding-dong in their way battle for second place.
Yep, and that's what I said earlier. You know, he picked up on Pred J's strategy. You know, start on the softs, try to gain that advantage as he's sliding around that hairpin. He wanted to get as much advantage as he could. Jerry Bear and Lateral, they were fighting for position for the longest time. They weren't helping each other out, and so Rascal has just run away again with the time. And I think we'll just have to see if Rascal will make a mistake. He very rarely does unless it's forced by someone else.
Like we saw last week at Kyoto with Lateral when he was trying to battle pass him for the lead at turn 6, and then Lateral ended up getting into him. Just noticing there too, the Inman's come out onto the pits. He's gone to the soft tyres. I'm wondering if he's a bit concerned that gap between himself to Pridge was far too big for him to catch up within 22 laps.
Yep, currently a 33-second gap between, but Pred J has not yet gone into the pits, so...
He'll be pitting this time by, though. He's flashing flashing red. Apologies, I can't speak today.
Yep, and see where he comes out once he makes this pit. See in comparison to where...
Crow's going to be pitting as well this time by. He's flashing too.
Yep.
So I think it's pretty much going to be status quo as you were before both Preggy and Inman made the pit stop.
Well, he's currently on the Expressway, making his way up to the hairpin. So we'll see how it turns out right now. See if Pred J underfuels just to see if he can make another pit stop. No,
he's gone all the way, and he's on the medium tyres now. So let's see what Inman can do on no soft run. 7.3, 6.7, 6.5. So he must have gained at least nearly 3 seconds on that lap alone.
Yep, and this is going to be where Pred J needs to... What I believe he should be doing is he should make it as difficult as possible for Inman to pass. If possible, maybe drop Inman into the clutches of Kofi and then try and run away again. I think that would be a good idea, but it's really up in the air at the moment. So we'll see how this battle for the lead progresses as Inman tries to regain that lead from his qualifying pole.
A couple of the GT300 drivers in the pit lane, Jerry Bear and the Furious, as well as Chris. Chris, that'll be his second stop. Jerry and Furious will be making their first. Out goes Jerry. He's gone onto the soft tyres now. Furious looks like he's going to stay out on a new set of mediums. Yes, indeed he is. And he's just going to come out just ahead of Lateral as well. So, I mean, Lateral pitted in the lap before, but I think Lateral may have lost a lot of time on that, actually. Not necessarily he incurred a bit of damage before making that pit stop, which I unfortunately didn't see.
Just closely monitoring this gap, so 4 seconds now, so already 2 seconds behind, 2 seconds made up between Pred J and Inman. So we'll maybe see about 2 laps time, they'll start to bump heads with each other.
Yeah, Inman set his best lap of the race for himself for 1:45.223, only just attempts slower than the fast lap set by Kofi, as the bumper's making his third pit stop.
This one seems like an actual scheduled pit stop, so see if he comes down to the softs and see if he can make up some time. There's a lot of damage that was on that car.
It's actually a bit odd considering the fact that the 2 times that he pitted before were damaged and he didn't put fuel in the car there. Seems a bit odd to me, that. Maybe if it was like the second time he would have pitted in, maybe put some fuel in the car. But that's, you know, it's a bit of an odd one, that.
Well, you have to think. I think it was worth more to just take out the damage, because the car gets better, like we said, with less fuel. So he was trying to bank on the fact that he could get some better laps in, and as well, putting in the fuel does have its little animation. So you lose about half a second to a second just off of them putting in fuel. So if he did that for every pit stop, he'd be losing even more time.
Just those 2 there. lead of the GT300's Rascal made his first pit stop, but Inman is absolutely flying. He's hit the fastest lap of the race by 3/10. He's gone into the 44s, and the gap is really coming down now between himself and Bridgie. Less than 2 seconds now as they're going in towards the Fujiwara hairpin.
Yep, and this is going to be a battle coming to the head. Probably as soon as they hit Pandora's box, they'll probably come right up against each other, so want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on this battle as it comes to its culmination. Maddie has less than 20%, I think, with probably a pit stop coming in soon, so his 9th place position will be rectified once he comes in. Let's go ahead and see how it's going with Inman, 1.4 behind Pred right now. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed with how Pred has been performing. You know, he did start on the softs, but, you know, getting that 2nd place position and trying to run away with it, I definitely think it was the better strategy. It was just unfortunate that all the traffic came to a head while everyone was battling for position, so he kind of had to wait, and he lost his 7-second gap at that point.
Tell you what, Kofi's not too far back. He's only 3.8 off the leader too, so Kofi's still within a shout too. He's setting some real fast lap times. His best lap has been a 1:45.107. The other two was last year laps of 1:45.1. So he's putting in some steady laps and slowly catching up to the leader Pridgie as well as Inman. In fact, Inman might be within slipstream distance now, but they're coming up on Chris.
One thing we didn't mention, Cro-Magnon, the practice hog, he's gone ahead and gone onto the softs now, so he's looking to probably catch up to the leaders as well. So we'll see what he can do here.
Also, Bomber's gone to the soft tyres too.
And there we go, into the hairpin.
Go, battle for the lead. They are going to catch up on some slow 300 drivers. That's Chris just ahead.
Yep, I want to see Pred possibly back Inman up into the clutches of Kofi, and they can scrap it out, maybe give Pred a little bit of breathing room.
And again, this is the worst part to catch up Chris here. Again, the drivers, the 300 drivers, got to show that bit of patience here. But where can they find a way by? But a spark's flying. It's going into its last turn.
Ooh,
oh, Chris really puts the block on Pred. Inman trying to thread the eye through the needle.
That compromised Pred a little bit, so Inman is possibly
Inman to the inside, the cannon!
Ooh, he backs out just at the last second.
Now that's going to allow Kofi to catch up. He's only 1.2 off of Inman, but he did scrape the wall. No damage though.
He is catching though, so he's going to be just about into the slipstream, maybe going into the dockyard, so we'll see where this comes into play.
And then they've got 13th place Wiley Coyote coming up too. He's just going in towards turn 5. Very easy place there to gain. Just noticed there too that Latimer has gained a spot on the Furious, so up into 4th place, I believe that is. Yep, so Latimer's up there. So they're going to catch up with Wiley in that Lambo.
Inman again backs out. He's trying to get Pred to go deep.
Kofi's there. This is going to be season 3 all over again.
Yeah, Inman is trying to get Pred to go deep into his defensive lines, and so Inman is trying to get into the head of Pred right now.
Oh, it's going to go to the inside here!
Ooh,
oh, bit of contact! And Pred got held up because Wiley was there. And now Kofi's going to go 3 wide, going into Fuji! But Inman has the lead.
Inman takes the
Kofi's
lead.
in 2nd.
Ooh, now this is disastrous for Pred. He was, scrapping for position through the GT300 field. He was caught up in the traffic and mitigated that advantage he had on the soft tires. And now Inman and Kofi on the soft tires, they made their way past, and this is looking to be a scrap for 1st place between Kofi and Inman now.
God, that would nearly scrape the wall off of 16. And what I said about that. The drivers have missed a trick at the beginning. Yeah, just take it back. I'm just completely talking nonsense about that.
it was a very good idea, but it didn't come into. Ooh, and Pred into the wall.
Oh, he scraped the wall again. No damage. He's trying. Can't blame him for trying though.
I think he's getting into his own head now that he got passed by Kofi and Inman. I think he just needs to put in a solid drive now. Probably mitigate any damage that he might incur, and instead just take a solid drive, take this third place position, and try to defend all the way to the finish.
Well, I mean, this race is not over. Inman and Kofi can pick up some damage, but, you know, if they're not being careful, if they scrape the wall or come across some oncoming traffic, which they are right now. So it's not all over for Bridgie. We've still got half the race still to go.
This is dangerous. Makes his way through.
Just barely getting by Jerry Bear, and Inman just getting by Matty. And now Kofi's trying to get by Matty, who's definitely fuel saving. They got by cleanly. It's just up to Pritchie to see if he can maybe catch to both Jerry and Matty. He's going to go on the inside of Jerry. No, he doesn't. Matty comes into the pits. Pritchie is still in this battle, though. You know, he's just got to rely on Inman and Kofi to slip up, and then he's just there waiting for the takings. But he to himself is not going to scrape the ball. He's just got to get that momentum back again. It'll be all right.
I agree. This is Darth into the pits now. This is the fight for the lead right now. I think Kofi needs to put on some pressure, and if he's trying to challenge for that lead, then he might pull this fight for first position back to Pritchie. A little scrape.
The ball at Cannon, though. He's going to lose a little bit of time, but he's going to still be in the slipstream. Just checking a look at their fuel bath. Inman's are probably about 50%, whereas Kofi is just about maybe 45%. He could fuel save. He may be happy to just be content just to sit behind Inman, save a bit more fuel, and then maybe make the pit stop. Maybe pit at the same time as Inman, and then we'll see him come out on top of the catching up the leader Rascal in the GT 300 class.
What I think is interesting here is that Crow, he's been practicing a whole lot. His last 2 laps wasn't very great, a 49 and a 48. He's been dropping off the fight, and he's on the soft tires. I wonder what's happening there. It's either the traffic.
It might be traffic. It might have been traffic, because I just seen there he was getting by, I think that was Latido, I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah,
it might have been Latido. So it could have been traffic that played a part in that. Trying to get by on the outside of Jenny Bear under the bridge. He's got by him cleanly.
Inman and Kofi passing Larasco right now, with Kofi trying to get by.
So our favourite for the 300 class, Chris, it's not looking too good here in that Aston, sitting 5th overall in the GT 300 class, but he's slowly catching up and winding. But that Lamborghini's also quick on that straightaway too.
So my predictions are all out the window at this point.
Realistically, I don't put prediction in.
Realistically, it's possibly either Inman or Kofi right now. If they back it up to Pritchie, we can see that 3-car battle for the lead. And then Rascal is checked out 15 seconds ahead of Jerry, and he's on the mediums still, so probably saving the softs for his last stint. Jerry
he might not want to go on the soft tyres, to be honest with you. If he's pulled out that much of a gap. I mean, Jerry's on the soft tyres.
Yeah, Jerry's on the softs.
Rascal may not need to go on the softs. Although, to be fair, Rascal did start the race on softs.
Here's the crazy thing. Rascal is doing the same lap times that Jerry is doing, and Rascal's on the slower compound. Rascal is just a monster, and even with that 6%, he is just pulling away even further and further as Jerry struggles to.
Baldy one's got damage. He's got both front and rear damage on his Lexus, and Darth is all over the back. And that's a position gain for Darth up to 6th place, so Baldy's got to make a pit stop. I haven't talked a lot about Baldy during this race. Only wants it back in the DHL. Nope. Car's too badly damaged. Like you said, the aero, that's going to really compromise him on that straightaway, and you can see already that Darth has pulled away.
Pandora's
so
box.
Baldy's for the pit.
Inman and Kofi right now, they're roughly about half a tenth at the moment. It was 3/10. See if Kofi can get a better exit. Doesn't look like it. Inman really just has that car tuned in. He's just getting faster and faster, even though Kofi has less fuel. He has more tire wear for Kofi's car in comparison to Inman's.
Well, it's not going to help if he keeps scraping the wall off Cannon every lap. That's about what, 2, maybe 3 times in a row he's done that now.
But I think the battle for Predje to possibly come back in has fallen off with Darth and Baldy one into the pits. Kofi isn't challenging enough for Predje to catch back up. There's already a 5.5 second gap between them and Predje.
Noticing there, Darth also had front end damage on his skylight, so maybe he made contact with Baldy one in the rear, and that got Baldy hit into the barrier too. So I guess that the stewards are going to have a very long night in the discussing what penalties are going to be dished out.
There was an incident with Inman giving Chris damage as he was pushed into the wall.
So that could go under scrutiny then.
Yep, as they were coming through the Wangan Expressway, they touched, and so that's where I was trying to emphasize the patience of waiting if there's a possible corner that could just compromise the GT300's racing line. So, with provisional results...
touch.
Yep.
Kofi started his touch again. He did scrape the wall off 16.
Provisional results right now, we could be looking at Inman and Kofi finishing first and second, but with the penalty, it might drop Inman down the order some. So, because I definitely expect a penalty to possibly be given out for that touch between him and Chris. So, but who knows?
See what else I'm not a fan of, and I discussed it with some of the other drivers too, that I'm not a fan of Inman starting the race and then immediately turn onto the racing line before he crosses the start finish line. Is that like a rule added in this championship, or is it allowed to do that?
As far as I know, there is no rolling start rules for maintaining your front position or your side as far as the rolling start is concerned. So he can go onto the racing line as is, but I would have to review the rules
Does that include before the start finish line, or is it after?
So as soon as he goes on the accelerator, the race is started.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and it's up to the drivers behind to react to him because he was the pole sitting leader.
I think the only real close battle going up front is Riley versus Chris. Riley and Chris both 11th and 12th overall, 1.5 seconds between the two. Starting to pull away from the Furious. I would have thought the Furious would have been a lot better because he's balanced free. Still with a little bit of touch, only really 5.7 back.
I may need to extend the limits of the ballast and make them go at a
I think you need to add on another like 50% of success ballast for Inman. We want to see some different winners in this. And Rascal too in the process.
I hope that getting another person sitting in the car essentially would have affected their ability to drive well, because that weight does create a difference, but they are it's definitely not affecting them, and that's one, the skill of the driver, and maybe even the ballast not affecting it all that much at the moment. So I may need to, in Season 2 of AJC, review how ballast is being applied.
I think the Baldy one's going to be making another pit stop. He's flashing red. So Baldy one's going to lose out some time on Darth. Yes, I think he just passed it. Passed it. Right? Yeah, it was. Rascal to Jetty Bear. The gap's still somewhat the same, even though Jetty Bear is on the soft tyres, but not really doing anything to catch up on Rascal. Gap is sort of stabilised between 15 seconds here and there for like the last 8 or so laps.
Yeah. One thing I kind of want to touch on is Maddie sitting in 14th overall right now. Maddie performed very well at Kyoto Driving Park, Yamagiwa and Miyabi, but right now he doesn't seem to be doing so hot. I didn't see any of the practice sessions. It seems that Maddie didn't really practice too much, or has just had a whole bunch of issues.
No, I just think he's been heavily fuel saving. I think because he pitted in on lap 2, and then he must have fuel saved until he just pitched up on lap 16. So I don't think fuel saving is the way to go. I mean, he's what, 5 laps into his stint, and he's got roughly about 70% left of fuel. Lado comes into the pit lane. So I don't know. I think he's definitely fuel saving, but like I said before in the stream, it's definitely not the way to go if you're fuel saving. Especially on a track like this with the long straightaways.
Yeah, and the pit lane is not very long, so it's not like there's a whole lot of pit delta or time loss being created due to the pit. So I'm not totally sure where the strategy is gonna sit in. We'll see if this comes to a head as the race comes to a finish with Kofi coming into the pits, and that's the difference between Inman and Kofi and how Inman has been saving his fuel.
This could play into... Oh, now I tell you what, Inman is actually caught up to Lato and is going to hold him up. So this could play into Kofi's hands here, that he may come out ahead of Inman because he's been heavily held up behind Lato. So he would have lost a bit of time, and the gap now to Prigi was over 10 seconds. Baldy one's just gone by lateral. So Inman would have lost a bit of time there. So, because I mean, Inman's going to be pitting this time by, so we could see if Kofi, depending if he's got clear there, which I'm looking at him and he has, we might see a lead change coming out of the pits, but it just depends if Kofi doesn't scrape the wall. Lead Rascal into the pits.
See where that puts Jerry Bear. Right now he's got maybe 2 or 3 laps in him before he needs to pit again. So it's up to...
Going to come out close together though, I reckon, or maybe Jerry will just come out ahead of Rascal. Indeed, so Jerry Bear will take the lead, but like he says, he's got to pit within 2 laps.
86%, so I think Larascal knows about how much he needs to close out the race. So we'll see whether Jerry Bear has the mathematical skill to see how much laps he's got left in comparison to the race finish.
Right, Inman should be making a pit stop by, but Kofi just hit the wall very hard off of turn 6. So Inman is definitely in the pits.
No damage right now.
No damage, that's good, that's alright. Red G's in.
Inman on 0%.
Crow should come in as well, which indeed he does. But it's all because of the fact now, it's that. Oh, out goes Inman, and he's going to come out ahead of Kofi.
Oh.
Kofi fueled all the way to the top.
So here's an interesting thing. Inman, he did not change his tires. He just took fuel.
Oh, okay. So that's why he's maybe he's a bit too cut. Well, I think that's still legal, isn't it? Because that's I know you're not allowed a different set of soft tires. That's still fair game.
Yep. He's banking on his confidence to stay fast, even though the soft tires are a little bit worn. So we'll see if there's a factor here where it might put Kofi into the clutches of trying to catch back up with Inman, and he's got 5.5 seconds to do that. Fred J swapped onto the mediums, got a fresh set, fueled up. I think he's going to the end just as is. Crow, new set of mediums as well. And La Bamba is right there, but he's going to need to pit soon, so I don't think Crow needs to really
side by side, actually. Side by side with Crow, going in towards the DHL dockyard. Bumper trying to have a look at the inside, didn't do it. So Crow's just going to hold on to that third place, although he does have fresher tyres though over La Bomba, although Bomba has to be pitting. Oh, in fact, he's got also got a 1 second penalty. So Bomba, that's not going to help him.
Yep.
He's going to serve a penalty down.
Gonna need to serve that penalty. Let's check out the GT300, see where, if there's any battles at the moment. It looks like there's a battle with Maddie in Lateral. Lateral did pit, got a fresh set of tires. Maddie is still on some worn softs.
Meanwhile, Lateral was on a fresh set of soft tires. And now Inman is catch up with them two again. Oh man, he's hit the wall! Oh my goodness me!
That's a squeeze there.
Inman! I think he just found a moving chicane. That was tight there. Did Inman pick up any damage? No, he's alright, but he was very lucky there because that was still quite a hard hit at the wall.
Yep. I definitely think he could have gone about that pass a little bit better, but he makes the pass nonetheless. Could have got squeezed in. Chris is right there behind them.
Darth's making his Darth making his final pit stop. I'm guessing he's going to stay on the same set of soft tires, which is.
Yep.
I mean, Darth has been practicing with the likes of Jerry and Rascal, and he's done a lot of practicing too, but been quite unimpressed with him being in 6th place. Obviously, that qualifying didn't help him start 5th, but it's just gone to pot. You know, picked up damage. He's got front end damage on a couple of occasions, so it's really gone to pot. And considering that Inman is leading the race, this is really going to help Darth's title chances here.
Yeah. I wonder if there's just a driver nerves, or if the ballast really affected his driving style, or if he just got into his own head after the qualifying. Because I do know that Darth is very quick, but he's just not having a great race day today.
I want to give a shout out as well to Lateral because, you know, he's been struggling in the first 2 races. There were some signs that he did well at Kyoto before the incident with Rascal, when it just went to pot with him. But here he is, sitting in 3rd place in the class. He's still needing a sponsor. So if there's any sponsors that are out there willing to give, you know, Lateral a chance to put a sponsor on his car, please do, because he's having a great race. Even though he said in the chat he's not a fan of this track.
Yep, I want to maybe watch over his gap between Jerry. He is on the soft tires, so he's got roughly about 10-12 laps to go. We'll see if he can make up that gap and possibly fight for that silver medal.
The problem with Lateral is he's not that consistent. We have seen times before where he can do the odd slip up. We did see a lot of that last week at Kyoto, getting the penultimate turn or wrong on a couple of occasions as Pridgey's trying to get by him on the outside too. He's just got to string a consecutive laps if he could do that though in the process.
Yep, I definitely agree. And it's all up to Jerry to not lose his consistency that he's been having so far. He's not been catching up to Rascal, but he has been keeping his own pace.
And I was being in the party chat with Jerry and Rascal. Jerry was all too confident in saying, "Oh, I'm going to beat Rascal. I'm going to beat Rascal." But there, yeah, you could just see, you know, Rascal was probably, what's the word I was looking for? What's the word? It's like you're faking it. Like he's pretending to be slow, but he's going to be quick. I can't remember what you call it. What you call it? Oh, it's out of the top of my head now. Damn it. I'll come back to you in a minute. Oh, that's going to annoy me.
No worries there. So let's just go over the grid order. We're 29 laps in for the GT.
Sandbagging. That's the word. Sandbagging. That was it.
Eamon passing Rascal, the 2 race leaders coming side by side. right now to the DHL dockyard, but right now the grid order as it is, Inman in first, Kofi in second, Predjay in third, Crow in fourth, Labamba in fifth, Darth in sixth, and the Baldy one in seventh. In the GT300s, first is the Rascal, second is Jerry, Lateral is third, Maddie in fourth, Chris in fifth, Wiley in sixth, and Furious in seventh, and that's going to round out your grid so far with everyone pretty much spaced out at the moment. Not a whole lot going on. Yeah, I think the gap right now, 10 seconds between Jerry and Lateral, but I don't think there's going to be much happening there. Crow is about to make his pass. I do want to see a possible battle for that second place, but it's going to seem pretty unlikely.
Now, I'm just looking at Inman's tyres here. I mean, obviously he's still on the same set of those soft tyres before making the pit stop, but he's now into the 46s. And Kofi is actually done a lap quicker than him. So I'm wondering if this is the time where the softs are starting to fall off the cliff and the mediums are coming to play.
We'll see if this strategy is going to work out for Inman, or if he would have not suffered too much time loss just going for another set of mediums. You know, we did mention that Kofi on his outlap was scraping the walls a little bit, so that
Inman just did that too.
Yep.
Sorry to cut you off there. Inman just scraped the wall off of Golden.
Yep. And
Don't see his lap time, 1:46.4 for Inman, whereas Kofi did a 1:45.9. He's gained half a second on Inman.
Yep. And not a whole lot of time was really lost with the fact that Kofi was having a rough outlap at the moment.
I'm just wondering if there's going to be enough time for Kofi to catch up that 5.7 seconds. But let's not forget, Inman may have a penalty over Newman over his head with the incident with Chris under the bridge. So Kofi's got to push it here. He could be on course for his first win. Again, scraping the wall off turn 6.
Yep.
He's got to stop doing that.
Here's the thing. I want to see Predjay put in some consistent times. He's got a fresh set of mediums. If he could possibly cut down that 18-second gap to Inman, he might even acquire another position post-penalty. Nine-and-a-half-second gap between Jerry and Lateral, with looks like to be no other battles going on. The closest one would be Wiley and Furious with a 2-second gap between the two. And Maddie down in last place, 2.5 seconds behind Furious. I don't think that that one stop is going to work out for Maddie today.
I think he must have pitted. He must have pitted on that lap last there, because he did a 2:11. So I'm guessing he made a pit stop just to put more fuel in the car.
So some interesting strategies, but definitely not the one to work on today. I think the one strategy that did work out was the Rascal taking the softs to begin with. He just ran away and he just maintained that lead all the way through the whole race. Predjay with starting on the softs, that didn't work out for him, unfortunately. So definitely think mediums would have been better at that point. What do you think? Do you think taking softs is a good idea with the fact that you're gonna come up on traffic a lot more often?
I think so. I definitely think so. Obviously, got to be a lot more quicker. I just thought the smart strategy was to start the race on the soft tyres, just to pull away, to make yourself a big advantage to catch up with the GT300 drivers. But obviously, it's not worked on Pritchie's favour. But I don't know. See, I feel like I'm a retired racing driver, so I don't know like these smart strategies, you know.
In my personal opinion, it would have worked if it was on a track that wasn't a narrow circuit like this one. With all of that traffic, there is just hardly any place to make their way by without compromising the GT300's line. I initially had thought it was a super big brain strategy, but once I saw the culmination of the results of the traffic coming into play, now I think it was too smart of an option, and yeah, I definitely think that if anything was different, if the traffic wasn't an issue, Predje possibly could have been up there for the win.
Just seeing the gap now between Inman to Kofi is 5.8 seconds, and with about, what, 4 laps to go? If Inman has that penalty looming over the head, Kofi needs to find 7 tenths here. Looking at the last laps there, Inman did a 46.5, Kofi did a 46.3. But I think Inman is going to catch up with some lap traffic going under the bridge.
A little scrape for Kofi.
Again, Kofi's got to stop doing that. He keeps sweeping the wall, and he's going to lose in time doing that. I know he's trying this hard out here, but he's got to. There's a fine line between driving, hard and then pushing very hard, and then because you're going to be hitting the barrier, and then you're going to sustain some damage there.
Yep. And I definitely think that some of the scrapes we've been seeing have not really affected some of the drivers all too much. There is a little bit of weird boundaries for this circuit, so some of the scrapes we've been seeing may not have really affected the driver, and it was mostly just network stuff.
So I've got 3 laps to go then for Inman. 146.951 now for Inman, so his tyres are starting to fall off the cliff. And Kofi 147.1, so he's lost 2 tenths, and that's all because he's scraping the wall here and there. Again, if he can gain at least a second on Inman to the gap there, if he doesn't scrape walls, he's in with a shot of a W here. Yep. Depending if Inman will get that penalty when he hit Chris that caused him to have damage. So if Kofi's watching this, and I know a few drivers will watch the stream, if he watches this, he needs to get going because there's only 3 laps to go.
And he had 3 tires over that corner, but he's not going to get a penalty going through the DHL dockyard. I definitely agree he needs to close that gap up to at least 5 seconds and possibly take a W post-race results. But right now we're looking at seeing Inman taking the checkered flag. One of the things that I saw is that Kofi took probably 3 or 4 more laps of fuel than he needed.
Yeah, when Kofi made the second pit stop, he fueled all the way to the top. So that also played a part of that too.
Looking at the gap between Lateral and Jerry, it's only 9 seconds, so with about 2 laps to go, I don't think there's going to be any chance of a battle for second place. So we're going to be looking at the GT300 class, looking at Larascal taking another W. I was hoping that 6% weight ballast was going to toss him back down the order a little bit, but his strategy seemed to have paid off, and he's taking another win here provisionally. Race is not over yet. Jerry in second, Lateral in third, Chris in fourth, Wiley in fifth, Furious in sixth, and Maddie in seventh.
Sorry, there, just looking at Rascal dominating the 300 class, but then Bomber just did a massive drift around the Fujiwara hairpin. Well, Rascal was lovely. I mean, lovely moment that was there. I'll probably get that on the picture with the rest of about 100 pictures I'm going to take after this race.
We've got Inman in the first place for the GT500, Kofi in second, Predje in third.
And it's less. Oh, God, who was that scraping the wall? That was Kofi again. And he's got the gap down to 5 seconds.
It's teeter-tottering off of the boundaries, so he needs to just hold on. Inman's tires aren't going to get any better. So I think this is coming to a culmination of trying to get that 5-second gap for the possibility of a penalty.
He's within it now. No, he's not. He was within it. Oh, this is going to be so nip and tuck here. Right, so he is within he's within 5 seconds now.
Crow in 4th, Bubba in 5th, Darth in 6th, and Baldy in 7th. So, so now that time is definitely coming down, coming into Pandora's box and exiting out. So he gained up all that time in those technical curve sections, so I think that's where he's gaining all of his time. Final lap now for everyone.
Yeah, last lap for Inman. The gap down to 4.6 seconds. Oh, goodness me. Had to verve Matty then.
A little bit of a miss there.
But it's 4.7 seconds, and Kofi is within that 5 seconds now. But it just depends if the stewards will give Inman the benefit of the doubt with the incident with Chris, and then Inman can keep his win. Lado still holding on to 3rd place in the GT300s, only 2.2 ahead of Chris.
Definitely a good result for...
And slowly coming down, and Lado is flashing red. He's going to be fuel saving. So a podium dreams here for Lado could all come up in smoke.
We'll see.
I'm just seeing where Inman is. Inman's coming towards the Fujiwara hairpin. So I think, by my reckoning, I think Lado is going to have to do yet another lap, and he's flashing red, and he's going to possibly lose that 3rd spot to Chris. And indeed he is. He's within the slipstream distance now, and also Chris is flashing red, but he's got a bit more fuel than Lado.
This is a crazy battle.
Lado, what do you do? Baldy's right behind you too. This will be their last lap of the race. What do you do if you're Lado? What do you do? Oh, the gap's coming down. Where's Inman though? Inman is coming across the start-finish line to win. Although it's down to 1.9 seconds. Kofi will finish 2nd. Ooh, so that's going to be interesting. If Inman seems quite confident he's still going to get the penalty then, possibly. Predji will come across the line in 3rd. So podium finish there for Predji. Good effort from him.
And Furious and Maddie have already finished.
Just seeing where Rascal is. Rascal is just underneath the bridge. But Chris has gone into 3rd. Chris has gone into 3rd place. He's past Lateral.
Oh, this is a disaster for Lateral. He's fuel saving hard now. He needs to be able to finish, or else he's going to drop down the order. Because the only 2 GT300 class has finished already is Furious and Matty, so everyone else behind him is going to still be free game to take up those positions.
Crow's come across the line to finish in 4th. La Bomba Negra will finish in 5th. Darth, very disappointing result, but he will finish in 6th place. He's just coming across turn 16, but the sparks now flying.
Here comes the Rascal on the final corner. He's going to finish out the race.
3 wins from 3 for Rascal. Great effort from him. And yeah, Lado is really struggling. He is running on fumes right now. And Wiley is out of fuel. Wiley's out of fuel. So Lado will get a safe 4th place anyways.
No, it's just a misjudgment of maybe like 1 or 2 more % of fuel, and they would have probably still been scrapping for the lead, or scrapping for that podium position.
Jerry Bear will cross the line 2nd, and then we just wait for Chris to finish in that 3rd spot. And Lateral, I think he's out of fuel too. No, he's just keeping going, but he's going to finish in 4th place. But he could have had that 3rd place down. And then Wiley is just cruising his way through Pandora's box. Is he going to make it, actually? There's only 46 seconds. He might dump.
Oof.
Oh, he will.
Let's watch this nice hood cam view of him crossing the line. Who'd have thought that Lamborghini would run out of juice across the start-finish line? That flagman's arm's going to be tired. Wiley, come on. There you go. Way. 2 minutes 45 that lap time that was. That's blistering pace. All right, congratulations to Inman and Larascal taking the wins in their respective classes for the race. Now, we have driver interviews. Let's
I
see
want to
what
hear
people.
Lateral. Please, Lateral speak. I want to hear his intake from this.
We're gonna see what's going on here for the driver interviews. So we will be right back. All right, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the driver interviews. I'd like to pull into the booth Inman GT, the winner of the GT 500 race today. How are you doing, Inman? Inman, you there?
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I had my mic off.
That's all right. How are you doing today after this race win, Inman?
Definitely the toughest race so far. Um, yeah, just the combination of street circuit and the cars being a bit heavier this time is difficult, but definitely enjoyable, yeah.
I agree. I saw that in the initial lap of the race, you coming into the DHL dockyards, you were having a little bit of issue with your tail end of the car. Can you talk a little bit about how that happened, whether it was just race nerves or what was going on there?
Yeah, cold medium tires is something I forget quite a lot. So it's just those little mistakes I need to start ironing out. I don't think I made too many mistakes like that too many obvious mistakes in the first two races, but yeah, it was not the best way to start a race.
Yep, and we saw that we were feeling that it might have been the effect of the weight and the cold tires. But we saw you make your way through the traffic and even make your way past Predjay. Now, Predjay had a different strategy starting on the softs, and he was going to try and run away with it. With that mistake that you made, how are you feeling going into the race knowing that he was going to be in the lead and he was just pulling away time?
Well, I didn't see before the race what tyre he was on, so I was hoping he was going to set some fast times so that I could see that he was on softs, and luckily he set some pretty quick times, so I thought there's no way anyone's doing those times on mediums, so that kind of settled me a little bit, knowing that, just race my own race and see what happens, I guess.
All right, and coming into the GT300 lapping traffic, we saw a little bit of incidents going on there. What was your thought process going into your passing of traffic today? How are you feeling with the street circuit and the GT300s? How did that go for you today?
Well, I was trying to be a lot more cautious, definitely, this time round, because you've got to be alert on a street circuit. So I was making sure I didn't take any wild dives at the inside like I probably have been doing beforehand. But yeah, it was definitely more difficult with the narrow course.
All right, and with the ballast, you were sitting at the maximum percentage, 5% weight. Coming into this round. Now with another win behind your belt, you're going to start feeling the effects of less power in the car. How are you, what are your expectations going into round 4? We do have a week break before that happens, but what are your expectations going into round 4, going to a topless?
I don't really like that course. I've driven it a lot before, but it's one of those that I just cannot seem to get a rhythm on. Like, I could maybe set one fast lap, but I can't do that consistently. I can't, produce a good race pace there, I don't think. So that and the no power situation is going to really, really hamper me, I think. But it will definitely be interesting.
All right, and there seems to be a trend. There have been a couple of tracks that you have mentioned in previous interviews before. You say you don't really like those tracks and you're not excited about those tracks, but you seem to be performing well regardless. So I definitely hope to see that you do perform well again. You're currently tied in points with Darth, and then once the results come out, we'll see how the leaderboards are shaken up. But thank you for coming in for the interview today, and congratulations on the win again.
Cheers, thank you. Thanks for hosting.
Thank you. All right, and so I want to move on to the second place position for the GT500. Kofi, how are you doing today?
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing great. So second place position, you ended up qualifying in 6th place. So you made up a lot of positions today. What was your expectations after qualifying?
After qualifying, I was kind of thinking it was going to be a disaster. Like, I couldn't get my times in. I just wasn't feeling it today, but some people had some bad starts, and I just got my pace up.
All right, and you didn't have as much ballast as other drivers going into this race, but how have you felt in terms of the ballast? How do you feel like it's been affecting the car, if at all?
I don't think it's affecting the car too much. Definitely during some of the slower corners, the car is a bit more sluggish, but in a straight line, I'm not feeling many of the effects.
It's good to hear. Maybe need to do a little reevaluation next season of the ballast percentage, but I do want to touch on to your current ballast. So you have 3%. With your second place position, you may earn the maximum 5%, and on top of that, get a little bit of your power cut. How are you feeling going into a topless, knowing that might be in your future?
I think Autopolis is much more of a handling track, so I don't think the power cut's gonna affect me too much. Might have to rev out the car a little bit more and not be able to fuel save as well, but yeah, I don't think it'll be a track that will affect the power cut too much.
All right. And looking at the points, you were tied with Crow for third place, but the second place position is definitely going to enhance you a little bit more. Now, I do want to touch on that Inman may be getting a penalty as a result of a contact with a GT300 car, but that's something for the stewards to review. But you did finish within 1.8 seconds of Inman, so you may be getting a race win as a result. How are you feeling knowing that you might be the race winner today?
That would be nice. Haven't won in the ARC yet, so that'd be cool.
That is true, and yeah, I'm definitely excited to see if that does happen. Congratulations to you. But for now, thank you for coming in for the interview, and I hope you have a good week.
Yep. Thank you for hosting.
Thank you. All right, and I want to move into third place position. Pred J, are you here?
Hello, Kobu.
Hey, how's it going, Pred J? How are you feeling about that third place position today?
I'm feeling good about it, but I definitely feel like I left a little bit out there strategy-wise, so it was a bit of a gamble, and I don't think it really paid off. So
That's true. Me and Savvy were talking about it in the stream. We were talking about your soft tire, how it could have been a big brain strategy just with Inman losing his position from pole and you just coming out ahead. We were thinking that you would have pulled up a bigger lead, but the traffic became an issue for pretty much everyone, and that gap that you initially
yeah, it sure did.
yeah. That gap that you had just dropped off.
Yeah, so I kind of knew going on the softs originally that if I caught traffic at the wrong place, because the GT300s were going to be so bunched up that it was either going to make or break the strategy, and I just didn't get through them quick enough. But I was trying to be somewhat respectful of their lines, and it's a really tight circuit, so I didn't want to ruin anybody's race early on. And then also, I think the strategy was somewhat successful because during the practice races, we just had a lot of incidents on lap one, and the last thing I wanted to do is just get caught up in a lap one battle and pick up damage.
Yep, and your race was relatively damage-free through the entirety of the race. How are you feeling going into the next round, knowing that you have your third position and going into the next round where you will incur possibly the maximum amount of ballast going into a topless?
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous about that, but we'll see how the car feels with max ballast. And then, all topless in general seems to be a bit of a handling circuit, so hopefully the car is suited well for it. I know that the Honda is pretty good in the turns, so we'll see how that goes.
And I do want to touch on the fact that you were one of two Honda NSXs on the circuit, but with Crow opting for the GTR after replacing Hideki, you've been the only Honda out on the field. How do you felt the car has compared to the rest of the 2016 Group 2 cars?
There's definitely a bigger, well, I don't want to say bigger, but there's a pretty big learning curve to the car, and I think it lacks a little bit of top end compared to the other two, but it definitely is better on the handling circuits, I think. So I don't really have any complaints about it. It's just a challenging car that you kind of have to just respect on the throttle, I guess.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your third place podium, and I look forward to seeing you not next week, but the week after at a topless.
Cool. Thanks for hosting, Kobu.
Thank you. All right, so I want to go ahead and look at the GT300 winner, Larascal. How you doing?
Doing really well, actually. Thanks. Thank you.
So, I want to touch on the fact that you had 6% weight, and you still came out with the race win today. I want to know, how in the world are you still that fast?
Um, to be honest, in practice earlier this week, I was really nervous about how the weight was going to affect the car, and I went into today with not the greatest expectations, but somehow managed to put it on pole, which I thought was really important. With given how narrow the track is, if you're ahead, you can just defend. And then once I was there, I made the call just to start the race on softs, um, and just gap myself from whoever was behind, and that I think that was crucial, to be honest, because I think everyone else got into big battles behind me,
Hmm.
and yeah, I could just run clear and run my own race, which is what I was intending to do. So yeah, from that point of view, I'm quite relieved because I wasn't expecting to be doing so well today.
Yep, and I was expecting the 6% would have affected you a little bit more, but we were seeing that Jerry Bear and Lateral were scrapping it out in second and third position for a good portion of the beginning of the race. Going into the race and seeing that happen, where you start on softs, everyone else started on mediums, and you were pretty much flying away, but not just flying away, but seeing them fight for position. How are you feeling, knowing that that was happening behind you?
Um, I would have I would have liked to battle with Jerry, but I knew that I just had to run my own race because it's such a risky circuit to do any, to have two cars close to each other on circuit is just even if the slipstream is powerful and can improve your lap, it's just not a good idea for a longer stint, because you got more of a chance of more of a risk of getting damage on your car, and that's going to cost you lots of time. So yeah, I just, as soon as I saw that happening, because I know Lateral likes to defend, um, I I just thought it was there for the taking.
Yep. And going into a topless in 2 weeks, you're going to be snatching up that 7% cap for your weight ballast. The GT300s do not get any power ballast at all, so you will be hitting the maximum ballast that you could incur. How are you feeling going to a topless, knowing that it's a handling circuit and knowing that you're going to have all that ballast in the Ferrari?
Well, the car can't feel much worse than it already does. So, um, yeah, I feel like I mean, points are more important than having a faster car at the next race. So I'll take the points, and then yeah, I'll deal with the ballast when I get around to practicing for and racing at Autopolis. I think the Ferrari is a good handling car. It hasn't been with the ballast. It feels both oversteery and understeery.
Hmm.
So we'll see if that gets any worse with the extra percent. But I think my rivals are going to get more weight added to their car than I am. So yeah, hopefully we're all slower as a result.
Yeah. And I do want to touch on the team championship here. So you're going to be picking up a lot of points for your team, but Darth ended up placing sixth today, and so he didn't have a very good race, and this might shake up the team championship standings. How are you feeling, in terms of you're gonna most likely be leading the drivers, but the team championship, I'm sure it feels good to have been in the lead so far, but how are you feeling going into a topless, knowing that you might be scrapping for points with Darth's performance today?
Um, I mean, with the ballast, I don't drive enough in GT 500 to know how the weight affects the performance of the cars there. I know that Inman's dealing with it very well, but that guy is an alien. So Darth, this is one of those tracks where the weight's going to affect your acceleration massively. So perhaps he was feeling the weight of the car, and maybe with the result today, he's going to have less ballast on his car or less of a power reduction next week, or not next week, in 2 weeks' time. So I think I've got every confidence that he's going to be back and competitive in the next round, and yeah, I mean, if not, then again we'll deal with. I mean, hopefully I'm still competitive as well. But yeah, the challenge from is Inman's team Blue Flag Racing. They look to be very strong, so we're gonna have to put all our efforts into keeping the championship lead.
That's good to hear, and I'm thankful for you coming in to the interview today, and I hope you have a great week off, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks, Kobu. Yeah, see you soon.
See ya. All right, and I want to bring in Jerry Bear, the second place position for the GT300 field. How are you doing today, Jerry?
Good. How you doing, Kobu?
I'm doing fine myself. So you were doing very great in the race today, finishing out with a second position after being unable to attend the last race. How are you feeling about taking second place today?
Oh, I mean, can't complain about second place. Yeah, I really just was excited to be out there running. It was upsetting not to be able to run last week. I really like that track. I like this track too. So I spent a lot of the week practicing, and I think it's about where I expected to finish. I wanted to be closer to Rascal. We had a few practice races this week, and I could keep pace with him. It's just most of us knew whoever wins the battle to turn one probably pulls away because everybody else is stuck in the battle. And since he started on softs, that made it even harder to pin him in so that we could keep him around long enough to even make much happen there.
Yep. And going into this round, you qualified very well in second place position, or not second place, fourth place position, and you made up that place. There was a couple of incidents in the GT300 field. How are you feeling, knowing that you kind of got off scot-free in the grand scheme of things to take that second place?
I mean, the qualifying got funky. Rascal and I had a little pit mishap that slowed us down, and I mean, I was pretty happy about where I qualified to start, honestly, just because I got lucky that my first lap I put down as a test lap, because everything else was just setting up for a fast lap on qualifying, just one real shot at it. And based on what Larasco pit at, I was about 12% lower on fuel than him, I think, when we would have been going for our hot lap. But because we got slowed down, I ended up behind the whole pack of people. And so, since my time was like 8 or 9 tenths off what I was usually running in my qualifying practices, I was pretty happy to still be up at the front of the pack. I kind of figured I'd be qualifying at the back when I knew what my time was at the start.
All right, and currently you're sitting at around you're at 3% ballast. You will incur probably not 7%, but very close to 7% weight. How are you feeling about ballast in coming in today, and then knowing the car will be heavier going into a topless?
I haven't noticed anything in the driving. You just notice it when your times are there. So I haven't really figured out how much time we're losing per weight or anything like that. But every time we add ballast, the average time just kind of comes down. So hopefully Rascal doesn't just get further and further away, because it took about the ballast difference we had right now for us to feel competitive with him. So now that we're just going to get closer to him and he's just kind of staying pretty similar, that's worrisome. But I think it might pull everybody else right on top of each other, because I didn't see what happened behind me, but it seemed like every time I could see them going through the dock section as they were coming down, they were just a huge group of them, it seemed like.
Yep. And there was a lot of intense racing between you and the GT300 field. You were scrapping with Lateral for quite a long time. What was your thought process going into the battle with Lateral?
I mean, I assume at the start we both had the same process of probably just like I thought my medium's pace was fast enough to pull away from him, and we needed to keep up with Rascal, so I really wanted to be the one in front pulling him because I thought I would eventually just get away from him. And based on how he raced, I think he thought the exact same thing because he would pull me down the other straight. So we were doing okay with it, but we are both a little aggressive, and we both kind of want to be in front of the other person. So once the gap got to about 7 or 8 seconds on Rascal, it was worrisome. And then eventually he made a mistake that at least let me get clean air for a while, and everyone's times were just staying the same all around me. Like right behind me was staying the exact same, right in front of me was staying the exact same, and it was really just hoping Rascal like slammed into a wall, or every time a GR2 passed that maybe they would just clip him, because like we just needed anything to catch up to him at that point, because it probably wasn't gonna happen after the second stint started.
Yep, I agree. Thank you very much. Congratulations on your second place position today, and thank you for coming in for the interview.
Thanks, Gobu.
Yep. See you next week, or not next week, 2 weeks from now. All right, I want to pull in Chris, the third place position today, after a fuel battle between Lateral and himself. How are you doing today, Chris?
Yeah, good. Dodgy race. Got hit pretty early on, and then it was just recovery from there.
Yep, and I want to touch on that incident. So I did pull up a replay, and it looked like Inman came on your inside and pushed you into the wall and gave you some damage. It was pretty early on into the race. Knowing that you had damage, what was your thought process, and what type of strategy were you going to try to employ from that point onward?
Yeah, I didn't see exactly who it was. It hit me, but I think through the week people have been mentioning the tunnel's the worst part to get past, or one of the worst parts, because it's such a fast section of the track, especially with slipstream. But I knew the pit stop was just there. I thought I'd just quickly go in, and then it was a recovery race from there on in, just try to get as far up the pack as possible. And then luckily, I guess, for me, Lateral had the fuel issues at the at the end of the last lap, and I guess he was fuel saving more than I was on that last lap. He probably had the fuel mix a bit higher than I did. But yeah, I nearly ran out of fuel, but I had to make sure I got past him. Then I changed my fuel mix.
Yep. And I've heard through the talk of just people in chat, as well as throughout the week of practice that you've guys been going on, people were talking about you having a good chance of taking the win today, but with the damage that kind of threw it out the window. How are you feeling going into the race today with what pace you were showing in practice versus how you qualified in second place? How are you feeling about like that culmination when you were getting started and that going into today's race?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty good. I think I won one of the practice races apart from Chile, who was in it. But from the guys that were racing, I beat them all once. But the 3 place grid penalty starting in the middle of the pack, it was always going to be tough. The first few laps, I got stuck behind Furious, and I couldn't. When I did get past him, that's when tunnel incident happened. So yeah, I was a bit annoyed with that because I don't know how far ahead Rascal was ahead of Jerry, but I think it was only 15 seconds behind Jerry by the end of it. So with the pit stop, I had probably added 15 seconds onto my time at least. So I think I would have been at least keeping pace with him, maybe even Rascal had I not had the big incident at the beginning.
All right, and going into the topless in the next round, how are you feeling about that track in particular, as well as some of the ballast that will be applied to you?
I think I should be pretty similar to what Rascal will be on ballast. I think probably get another pot percentage at least added on, maybe two. The topless I usually do all right with in the time trials. It's one of the first tracks I properly learned. So when I got the game, usually I'm okay at it. But we'll see how the ballast properly affects it. Because there's a few deep corners and the Aston Martin's not that great going around the big long corners. And yeah, we'll see. I think we've got 2 weeks to practice this one, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Hmm. All right. Well, I want to congratulate you on your third place position, and thank you for coming in today. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers for hosting. Bye.
Thanks. All right, and I want to pull in Lateral, the resident commentator for ARC, finishing in fourth position. How are you doing today, Lat?
Well, it could have gone a lot better, to be honest.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate that the last couple laps you were just fuel saving a lot. Going into today's race, what was your strategy? And you qualified in third, but you moved up a position to second after the penalty was applied. What was your strategy going in today?
Well, throughout practice, I noticed that roughly with the Lexus, the way it currently is performing, average fuel saving to around 12, 13, 14 laps, I was losing about 1 second a lap. So my strategy going into this race was pretty much push throughout most of the stints, see if I could extend it to around each stint around 11, 12 laps, and then I would make the sauce for the last stint. And just on that last stint, I could have fueled up a little bit more. I tried to cut it short to make the pit stop a little bit shorter, but I miscalculated, and well, it is what it is.
Yep. And I actually want to touch on you had a relatively clean race today. I didn't see many incidents involving you getting damage, if at all. And as a result, you were on pace for a very decent result today. Just a little bit of mathematical miscalculation affected you today, which I think is signs of improvement. So how are you feeling about today's race, regardless of where you finished? Are you feeling a little more confident in the car and going into a topless?
Well, I will say I'm rather surprised that the race went as it did. I was expecting a lot worse of an outcome, considering all the practice time and my pace going into this race. I'm honestly surprised, just kind of where I qualified. On just being up that high, I was expecting to be farther down the field, closer to what I was at the beginning of the season. As of how I'm getting used to the car, I'm not comfortable with it at all. Especially going into the race, the extra ballast that it added made the car, especially throughout that last sector, really uncomfortable to drive. And going into a topless, I don't expect it to get much better, especially in the later sectors. So hopefully I can get used to it, but going forward, I'm not quite sure.
And I want to touch on the battle that you were having with Jerry Bear. What was the strategy, or what were you hoping would happen as you were scrapping for position, as you were fighting with Jerry Bear for second place?
Well, it was about this what Jerry Bear said earlier. It was about back and forth because we both figured we were faster. There were a couple of sections or corners I felt like I was faster than him, and he felt like he was faster than me in a few corners. So it's kind of back and forth there. For a bit there, I felt like just sitting in behind, saving a bit of fuel, and trying to just make up race time. But then we started getting lapped by Predje, and I figured with Predje coming up, I thought I could make a move, get the position, and get Pred between me and him, and get a bit of a clean air. But I messed up my braking zone going into the dockyard, and I lost the position, and that was that.
All right. And this is the first time we've had you in the interview booth since the series has started, so I want to get your thoughts on the ballast and how are you feeling about how it's been affecting the car in general?
Well, everyone at this point now, we're 3 races in the championship. Everyone can see just how the ballast is affecting the pace of some of the cars. but I almost feel like it's not necessarily affecting the pace of the driver. It's more of along the lines making the car a bit harder to drive. Like Rascal won 3 races in a row at this point, but it's not because he's gotten slower. It's because the car is a lot harder to drive, especially through the faster sweeping corners. And even me, this is my first time having 2% on the Lexus, and even I can notice immediately right away just how much harder the car is to handle in those kind of corners. Like I mentioned earlier, the Sector 3 on Tokyo is just not fun in the Lexus with the extra ballast. So going forward, if I had to make a suggestion, maybe the ballast being applied isn't the answer that we should be looking for to maybe even up the championship. It's definitely an interesting idea, and it's good that we're trying it out and seeing how it works. But I think going forward, I think we need to put our minds towards a different area to see how it would to even out the playing field.
All right. Thank you for your thoughts today, and congratulations on your position, 4th place, and I hope to see you in the next round at a top list. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at Adrenaline Racing Community with the All Japan Championship. This was round 3 at Tokyo Expressway, South Inner Loop. And I hope you guys enjoyed the racing. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. And if you like to join in the racing, we have series across all different forms of games. So Gran Turismo, Assetto Corsa, even reaching out into iRacing. And all of our drivers participate in different leagues other than our own league. So we've got stuff like Friday Night Series and Saturdays, as well as the Rookie Series, as well as our Group 3 Championship. And like we were talking, as Savvy was talking about earlier, we've got whole bunches of series that we're always planning and going into the next stages of Gran Turismo, Assetto Corsa, and everything else. We definitely like to have you guys. So if you'd like to join, there's a link in the description on Discord, and join, get your driver's role, and I hope to see you guys out on the track. This has been Kobu, and my co-commentator has been Savvy, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.